YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. This is all new. The Horten 229, which is a hand launch belly liner. No, it also comes with gear. We're gonna fly it without gear though. We have our invisible tail plane. And yes, there's a plane right there on the YouTube channel to stop for manned aircraft. Look at this beautiful sky, building clouds, lumbering death and destruction, just like the Horten wishes it could have been, and yet it didn't get the opportunity. We have AS3X and safe setup, differential thrust. Throttle cuts off. We had to set our throttle cut way low. We had to add more differential thrust. Check that out. Pretty cool. Are these 40 millimeters? I don't know, but it's sub 250, 2 different batteries, China Hobby Line style. We're flying that one. Is it upside down?
Nope,
right side
up.
Very good. And then we'll fly this one if we survive long enough to do so. That being said, we do have hand launch assist. There is kind of a thing you can grab. There is a steerable nose gear, but it's not installed right now because there's no need to do it. I think this one is probably gonna be a hand launch assist in safe. Throttle cuts off, thrust. Woo, that was close. Okay, so what have we learned from hand launch assist? We need to put in a larger angle if we're gonna depend on it. The only thing that would have got damaged is the nose gear. I'm gonna go ahead and launch this different. This time I'm gonna launch it the good old this way style, okay? Throttle cuts off, timer's cleared. It's just awkward because I'm right-handed and there's not a great spot to hold it, okay? Because how the heck can I do this? You can grab the fin if you want, but you're so far back on the plane. I feel like there's enough power. AS3X gains 2X. I've turned it up quite a bit. Ooh, there it is. Okay, so we'll try. This thing might be a little hard to hand launch, let's just say. This fin is glued in with China glue. You can do one that is matching the color or one that is clear. I chose clear. I'm not having a good luck getting this hand launched just because there's not a great way to launch it. The fin gets in the way of hand launching it, I gotta tell you, just very awkward. And see, I'm off the sticks, so I can't control the elevator authority. I'm gonna try hand launch assist, I'm gonna go way up. There it is. Okay, now it's flying, in safe, no problemo. Just flying along. Now I gotta get a lot of trim. Show 'em my sticks here. Look at this. Up on the trim, a lot. Very easy to control now that it's flying. It's very cool. Oh man, that's so neat. I'm out of trim. So as you can see, when I let off the sticks, oh dang, that looks cool up against those clouds. So guys, I'm going to AS3X, it's gonna jank. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, tons of authority. As you can see, I am technically out of trim. Ooh, the differential thrust works awesome. It's actually good. Once you get the thing launched, oh man, look at the knife edge, guys. Oh wow, I have tons of authority. And you see that bird? That barn swallow is going after it. Oh guys, I actually really love the way this thing flies. It's so much fun. Look at this, stall turn, maybe? Yes. Get her flying. Oh yes. Oh man, today I have literally gotten bugs in my mouth twice while filming.
Great. How do you have any idea what direction you're...
Skills pay the bills.
Holy cow. That is nutty.
I love the way it flies,
really cool.
But I don't love the fact that I am out of trim on the elevator. It's so cool. The high-low, man, it's like no clouds in the sky over here. And then over here, it's like a giant storm system. Building, lumbering, coming to destroy, just like the Ho. The 229. I'm gonna slow it down a lot, just to show you that you can. By the way, no flap-arounds on this. Just kidding, guys. You could totally do it if you were dumb enough. But just remember, there ain't no difference between flap-arounds and an elevator on a V-tail. or excuse me, I guess this would be a delta wing. I am riding the elevator very unfortunately because boy, oh boy, once you get this thing launched, it is awesome. Super fun in the air. Love the high contrast. Visibility is way better than I thought it was gonna be. Yes, the camera crew is concerned about not being able to see. That's only 75% mix and I can still point the nose like it's got a rudder. Guys, how sick is that? China Hobby Lines. First, you give us the Super Tucano re-release V2, whatever, 0.7. And then this looks like a literal Stingray. Man, the colors, the contrast, the differential thrust, the well-tuned EDFs. If only they could have got the landing gear to not crash it. Yes, there are landing gear. If you use them at your own risk. I would not recommend it. I would get this thing hand launched. When you fall in love with it, you're gonna be more likely to want it to be survivable. I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, this thing is actually very fun to fly. It is powerful. It is exciting. And yes, we are flying high volt packs from China Hobby Line. Whoa, I'm kind of yelling here, aren't I?
A little bit.
Kind of excited. By the way, we moved from the outside hole on the ailerons to the inside hole, but I'm telling you, you want more throw. And I need to go in there and make mechanical trim adjustments. How's our manned aircraft? They're way up there.
Over there.
Way up there. Yeah. Let's try safe now. Here's safe, guys. Look, safe, hands off, but it's going downhill because I'm out of trim. And by the way, in safe, it's not bad. Okay, if you get confused about your orientation, you're good to go, okay? Ooh, one thing you could do too. Holy crap, ooh! No throttle, no throttle. Okay, that's it. I turned on my throttle cut when the throttle stopped. I do not know why I lost throttle. Let's go see if the throttle kicks back on. Maybe it's dead. My timer had elapsed.
That was like 6 minutes maybe with all the hand launch.
All I know is that was awesome once it was in the air, but I don't think it's gonna be awesome now. I think it's gonna be a pile of trash.
Well.
Throttle cut is on, so don't freak out.
Okay.
Camera crew, El Holdo.
Yep.
Thank you, that's Spanish for El Hold That. Whew. Maybe we're okay, guys. Maybe.
Ailerons working?
Yes, they are. Okay. Look at the angle of incidence. They're up just barely. Okay. All right. Throttle cuts off. Just hold still.
Yep.
It's dead. Okay. All right, guys. We're switching packs right now. Live. We're not going to pause. We don't want you to think there's any funny business. Believe me, there's nothing funny on Brian Phillips RC. There's nothing funny about this.
Never.
Is that poison ivy right there?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Everywhere else here, yes, but not right
in
there.
Our entire property.
Yeah.
This is the other one we're gonna do. Lightning. Oh, gross. Oh, I probably should have wiped my hands instead of my, to get it clean.
I can't believe you got that turned around to glide in like that.
So let's talk about this for a minute. I am doing this right now because I can, okay?
Okay.
Oh, it's on the wingtip, that's why. Okay, watch this, guys. Popping this out. Get out of there.
Where are you going, though?
I'm going in, okay? Two things. One, I'm going out one, so I get more throw, okay?
Okay.
And then once I do that, watch this. I'm holding this. I'm gonna go in. I wanna pull the elevator up, okay? So there's one half, there's one full turn in, okay? Then this is going back in on the outermost hole. Then I'm going to the innermost hole. I want more authority. That's a lot. I'm probably gonna have to untrim the plane now, okay?
But that's okay.
But that's okay. Now this one, I'm gonna pop this off. Oh, the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into forward programming 2X. I'm at 2X and I'm right at 50%, so that's pretty good. Differential thrust, look at the mixing. We'll show you what we did. Throttle cuts on, when it's off, this is the mix, okay? I'm gonna make this higher. I'm gonna make it like 95%, and then I'm gonna make the differential opposite that 40, okay? And then I'm gonna go to the other one. And then this needs to be 40. That's the undoing of the opposite side. And then this is gonna be negative 95%, okay? Okay, all right, good. So throttle cut's back on. I'm gonna unseat this battery. It is spent, okay?
Okay.
Spent. The timer was about right. This we're gonna pop off. Camera crew is concerned I'm gonna forget. This is coming out here. It's going into the outermost hole. I'm going in one turn. Holy cow, that's hard to adjust. I don't think I can go in or out. Oh man, that thing is not, I have to pause and get the pliers. Okay, so sorry, I said we wouldn't do any funny business, but I had to use pliers, and you see my finger, how it's red? That's how hard I was holding it. This thing twisted, but it felt like it wanted to break. This is a light enough, small enough plane that I really don't care. If it blows up in a million pieces, you guys just get to see evidence of it, okay? Truth is, I don't think it's gonna be a problem, okay? That's a ton of adjustment. So I'm gonna put my trim back to the center. Now, when you guys watch the Unbox build radio setup, you're gonna see things. Look at my trim all the way down, 100% down on throttle, and then my throttle cut is set to minus 125. Otherwise, your freaking ESCs won't arm. This is hot, by the way. Okay, we're trying this one, are we?
Yes.
I really kind of don't want to change too many factors, so we're gonna go this again, okay? And then we'll let this arm. Let it kind of hold still, get those ESCs packed down in there. They have a stupid lead on one of the ESCs, so it's really awkward to get those things packed in. My suggestion is wait for the arming process, do not rush it. I had to tape over this magnet, it popped out. I put China glue in it and glued it down. Then I taped over the top of it, stuffed it back in, made sure that my polarity was right. But just, you gotta be careful with your ESCs and all these little tiny little wires. Yes, it comes with all the little adapters, so you can use full size AS3X equipped AR630. We'll show you links to that in the video description below. Hopefully we'll get another flight with this. We're gonna fly 5 minutes if we get 5 minutes from this, AKA if I don't crash. But goodness gracious, God has given us a beautiful sunset. We're gonna take advantage. And in the meantime, I gotta say something. This vertical stabilizer is ticking me off. We already have people blowing things up.
And you're gonna stick to your timer this time?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm gonna fly it like I stole it. See that? It's wanting to screw it up because I didn't wait long enough for my China glue. Okay? And then look, our servo here is broken. See? This is broken. Okay? I'm not even worried about it. I don't even care. But I do care if it causes our servo to overdrive. Do you happen to remember which channel it is? Here, let's unplug it. Hold this, please. Hold this, please. Thanks. Okay, watch, guys.
I don't. It would be the gear channel, but I don't know.
Megan, I'm just saying like this. Look, I gotta unplug it is what I'm trying to do. See this? That's the servo. I'm unplugging it. That way I don't electrically overdrive my circuit. Because if it's trying to find a position and it can't get there, it'll just waste power at best case, but at worst case, it'll start a fire, okay?
Okay.
You can't tell because it's all in there, but those servos, when they can't find the position, they get hot. So that servo's toast. I don't care because I'm not gonna fly it that way. Now, let's try a different launch technique. I have enough elevator now that AS3X and Safe will work. But what I gotta do is I wanna launch it into that tall grass. Man, it looks like a cartoon. That is so gorgeous.
It's crazy.
Holy cow. Okay, all right. Hey, you ready? I'm gonna go hand launch assist. I'm gonna just try my best. I'm gonna go like this, okay? There we go. I've got enough up elevator. Oh, dang it, it ejected that. Watch where it went. It's on the path.
Yep.
Okay, so we're out of safe in AS3X. Oh yeah, we got tons of elevator authority now. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh, it's a canopy, dang it.
Yeah.
Oh, do I land? They haven't seen a proper landing. Don't need no stinking landing when it's this sweet.
Yeah, no, I just fly.
Okay, I'm giving myself some trim. I do need a little bit of trim to get back to the level. There we go, got tons of authority now though. Whoa, lightning too, sweet. Guys, check this out. I don't want to get too crazy on the authority for the roll because right now I have no canopy. Man, oh man. Oh, don't you get excited up there. That's my job. Did you see it?
Yes.
It was totally, wow, look at those clouds over there. It's so, so, so sweet. Okay, let's go over here a little further so we can get better shots of the airplane and the clouds. Holy cow, that is gorgeous, gorgeous. Guys, the differential thrust is to die for. You know what's not to die for? Hun, back
What?
to the middle of the intersection. You know what's not to die for? The amount of screwing around I had to do to get this thing to work. I don't want to screw around so hard on such a small plane, but I will tell you this, holy cow, buckets of beauty. I don't think people are going to watch this for the
That's
plane.
amazing, I know.
Except look at it. Look at it. What do you think, I'm going to hit us after all these years?
No, you're just right behind me.
No, it's okay. I'm not going to hit you, I
the camera.
promise. I promise I won't do it on
I'm gonna
purpose.
hit you.
I promise I won't hit you on purpose.
Yeah, right.
Man, that is so good. So good. Right overhead. Oh, did you see through the EDFs? Yeah. Oh, so much fun. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You can hear the differential thrust working. I love it. Look at those stripy clouds in the middle there.
So weird.
Oh, it's so cool. It's the boundary layers between all that stuff.
Yeah.
Look at this turn. Look at this turn, guys. Look at that turn, differential turn. See it? Differential turn. I'm gonna try to keep it flat. Look at the differential turn. It's so dang cool. Out of the throttle. Man, oh man, oh man. Talk about a good backdrop for flying this thing. It makes it look like literally something out of a magazine, except better. There's like no blind spot now. I mean, you can't even tell the canopy's gone.
No.
Flies like it's got a rudder. Guys, we already broke our nose gear servo. I don't know if you picked up on that, but it's toasted, gone. That's why I unplugged it. Safe? Oh, yes. Just cruising along, trying to show you some slow flight. Yeah, you can fly along a wing at like full throttle all the time and have a good time. We need to like get some other planes going here because this cloud backdrop is just desirable, to say the least.
Except we have to go find a canopy.
Nah, it'll be fine. I know exactly where it went. Right over there. So folks, Brian Phillips RC's here to help protect your RC dollars from RC liars. China Hobby Lines has been doing a pretty good job. I will tell you this plane is definitely not the easiest to launch. It is not the easiest to set up, a lot of fiddling around. I don't think they're doing you wrong. I just think you need to be prepared. Don't even think about the landing gear. They're cool for a display piece, but the gear doors are gonna get out there and act like a rudder. It's gonna cause problems. If you don't address it, you will lose your plane. I promise you, 100% guaranteed. AS3X has this locked in. It is so easy to fly. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know. It's so dead calm right now. It may not even be a factor. See lightning in the background? Mm-hmm. Guys, look at this. Low level, low altitude, no problems. Knife edging still. That's the end of our timer. Let's do a landing so that the people can actually see what it looks like to not crash.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna just bring it around. Guys, I was joking earlier about flaperons. There's no such thing as flaperons when you got this type of delta wing, because you literally are using an elevator at that point. Okay, beautiful,
Wow,
very easy.
nice.
Throttle cuts on, 15 seconds past the timer, 5-minute timer. Wow, that is exciting. Okay, do you think we can get to that thing quick enough without pausing?
Oh, no. But we can walk around there.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause and find it and come right back. Okay, watch. Piece of foam, the other battery. This battery is longer and it's skinnier. So if you buy this one, just be aware you're gonna have to probably plug it somehow so that the thing doesn't pop out on you, especially if your canopy pops off, okay? So I'm just gonna squish this a little bit so that it's got some resistance to it. I'm gonna drop it down inside so it doesn't totally foobar the finish of the plane itself, okay? And I'm gonna slide this. I actually gotta go a little bit further forward. But just remember, when you're trying to stuff a thinner battery into a thin opening like this, and you don't wanna fight it, just don't get too far ahead of yourself and damage the lip that actually catches the cover, okay? So there you go. See, because if you bend this out too much, these things won't stay. And the other thing is, think about this. You can't push this out of the way. There's a little bit of a relief cut, but it's not a huge cut. But you see what I'm talking about? Like this could pop off pretty easy if we're not careful, okay? So that being said, we got another 5-minute timer set. It feels really good. We're gonna fly just another time. That huge cloud in the background has made this really beautiful, but it's also made it easier because we can see so dang good, okay? Every time you take off, if you don't let that China glue set up, we use China glue, it will potentially fold out of the way. I wanna try a different launch technique this time. Throttle cuts off. I'm gonna just try going full throttle because we got tons of power. And I'm just gonna go up, okay? There it is. That was easy. That was the easiest.
I see it.
You good?
Yeah, you lost your canopy, you know.
I did?
Yes.
Where?
Immediately, back by the garden.
Oh, for goodness. Oh, it's getting really excited. I just turned down my master gain. So who needs a stinking canopy?
Apparently not a Ho 229.
If you're a Ho and you pop your lid like that, Ho 229. That's what you got. Oh man. I love that we can see it. Oh man, it's so cool at slow speeds. The way that it stalls is like non-existent. I want to show you guys this, okay? So watch this. Altitude, pulling back on the elevator, slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down, running out of elevator. There it is, that's the stall, guys. It doesn't stall. Now, if we could just get it to not blow its lid, that'd be great. Horten 229, China Hobby Lines. Thank you for another fun option. This plane is not anywhere near as a safe bet as the Super Tucano, guys, full disclosure. The Super Tucano is freaking perfect. I love it. Every time I fly it, I have an amazing experience. This plane will test your patience and also your budget for canopies. That being said, I don't do a lot of wings. I think the last wing we did, oh buddy, that's aggressive. Turn down my master gains again. The one thing we do is hopefully the latest and greatest stuff that's coming from a lot of our brand partners, one of which is China Hobby Lines. So if you guys enjoyed this video, smash the like button, but don't forget to buy from the links in the description below. That was a duck that just went through, going up and over, and then back down. You doing okay still? Mm-hmm. You fighting the bugs?
A little bit.
I'm actually having pretty good luck. I'm gonna fly over here so they can get more lightning shots.
Missing the lightning.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just gonna loiter over here for a minute. Guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, we understand that some things are bigger than RC. Like that cloud back there is just amazing. Go up and over. Look at it swallowing up the sky. Just amazing, so gorgeous. If you get this Horten, one suggestion, maybe throw a little tape on your front, the front of your canopy, just so you don't lose yours. We're gonna be fortunate enough to be able to find them because we film this stuff and we can go back and find it easy. But if you are brand new to the hobby, this would be a terrible choice. Don't let anybody try to talk you into this if you're brand new. It takes a little bit of skill to fly these. I don't wanna say it's super hard to fly. And frankly, we probably overcomplicated the Unbox build radio setup a lot because we were trying to make sure the throttle cut worked with our weird trimming on the throttle. The trimming on the throttle was annoying because the ESCs wouldn't arm at 0 on Spectrum. So 0 as in 0%, which would be minus 100 in Spectrum World. And yes, you do need a pretty good upward angle on those ailerons for flat and level flight, at least as it is being flown for you today by Brian Phillips RC. If you put your battery back a little bit, you could have the CG back a little bit. I think you could get away with having a little bit less of an upward cant. My suggestion to you is you're not gonna get that lucky. I would not recommend going any more tail heavy. Just put the battery at the front. You don't need much more authority, in my opinion. You're not gonna be doing prop hangs with this thing, okay? Camera crew, any thoughts?
It's really cool. The clouds are really cool.
Upside down, let's see if we can get the battery to pop out.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Tons of upward, I mean, you got tons of elevator authority. Just that little piece of foam trapped in there. I gotta say the orange battery is awesome because it traps the battery. It just traps itself perfectly.
One thing is the little wing thing on the bottom that you keep complaining about. It's not optional. It is necessary for it to fly. If people skip reading the instruction manual, like my favorite YouTube host does, they'll want to know that.
That's right. So folks, at the end of the day, we love doing this stuff for you here on Brian Phillips RC. We don't want to pull any punches. So there are definitely trade-offs to this plane. The fact that it's sub 250 definitely makes for an awesome experience because you could take this, launch it. You don't have to worry about the remote ID, even if you are. You can fly in a Freya. But just the fact that it's sub 250 is pretty awesome. Be careful which battery you pick. You could put it over.
Yes.
But it's close, okay? It's not close like the Micro Draco close. Or wait, was it the Micro Draco or was it the other one?
Micro Draco.
Oh, look, there's another duck up there. Oh, is that a bat? I think it's a bat.
It's a bat.
Let's fly by the bat. Let's see what the bat looks like compared to us. See this, guys? He's over here in the foreground. You see him?
Yep.
That's the bat. Or you know what? That might just be a barn swallow, hun. Usually the bats are more erratic than that.
Your timer did elapse also.
Oh, it did?
It did.
This is 120 CPAC, folks. Goodness gracious. Differential thrust. I just want to keep looking at the clouds.
Well, we can look at the clouds after you land, not in a tree.
Well, I mean, that would be one good thing to do. So I'll take a landing this way so you guys can actually see it. It is quite easy to land. Just get into a glide, use up your inertia, slowly pull back on the elevator. You can even rock if you want, but just remember differential thrust gonna keep giving you kisses of thrust, okay? Throttle cuts on, easy as that. 1 minute 41, 42, past 5 would be 6, but admittedly, I'm not 100% sure I cleared it. Okay, so we showed you 3 flights, we lost the canopy twice, and we had an amazing experience. If you try to fly this from the landing gear and you get it to work, congratulations, you're smarter than me. Because I think those gear door are gonna flop to the side and create a giant rudder effect and you're gonna crash, okay? If you don't believe me, just try it. Let me know how it turned out. Secondarily, I will tell you, this thing, even without a canopy, who cares? It's still amazing, it's still fun. Ew. Ew.
It's really muddy today.
Yeah, it's kind of muddy. But that being said, beautiful plane, flies fantastically on these provided packs. And when I say provided, one of them came with ours, but I don't know if it'll come with yours. So just pay special attention when you follow the links in the video description below. If you want to support Brian Phillips RC, buying from the links, that helps these guys know that we had some impact in your decision making, whether it was to buy it or to hold off or whatever. The point is this, we don't care what you buy, but when you buy it from our links, you help support Brian Phillips RC. Costs you nothing. They know we sent you. They send us commissions. That's how we fund this thing, okay? It's not cheap. It's not easy. It is extremely expensive what we're doing right now. It's the most expensive thing I've ever done in my life. And we're only probably halfway there, okay? So just think Joe Nall, except this big, okay? If you've ever been to Joe Nall, that's an aerodrome, okay? I love this stuff. I love flying. I love airplanes. I love aviation. I love helicopters. I love sharing this stuff. I love teaching people, getting them out of the chair into the air. These are things I love, okay? If it's not evident from the amount of effort we put into these videos, you're obviously not watching very many of our videos, okay? At the end of the day, anybody can go on YouTube and pretend to be a nice guy and say everything is good. We show the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that means when things break, we try to share our experience so yours doesn't have to, okay? Doesn't always work out that way. I know sometimes we have good experience and you have bad, and vice versa. But these planes have gotten so much better over the 10 or 11 years that we've been doing this, okay? And we'd like to think that we're playing a very small part in driving the manufacturers to give us better and give us more. Of course, we can't control the world economy. We can't control pandemics or whatever thing they throw at us next. But what we can control is giving you the truth so you can make good decisions based on that and not just some marketing gimmick. When you buy stuff from China, many times you're left with roll the dice, okay? We're gonna be rolling the dice for you. You can learn from our experience, okay? Now, that being said, this is a fun product. Wow, look how wet that thing is. Jeez. The grass is evidently very wet.
It was very wet,
okay?
yes.
I know that you guys want this thing if you're watching this video to this point, okay? We're gonna have our Unbox build radio set up. I just wanna full disclosure you. If you're not watching the flights and you watch the Unbox build radio setup on stuff like this, the small ones where it's all together, you need to watch the flights because many times we make final adjustments in our maiden flights, okay? I cannot remember all this crap. I just can't. I remember a lot and I remember some basic details.
There's a deer right on the other side.
There's a deer right there. Just zoom. But what I will tell you is, see? Yeah.
Literally right there.
What I will tell you is that, are you trying to crash our video? Come on up here. Come here.
That's so funny.
I know. Come here. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
You think we could walk that direction?
No, you're gonna scare her.
Come
It's
on.
okay.
It's okay. The deer get really curious when you do construction. And we just got done doing some dirt work right there. And every time we've done dirt work, the deer will like make their way through. And yes, we own an animal funnel. This is an animal funnel.
Yeah.
And there's a bluff over there that goes down to a river valley. And that's part of the reason why the runways run the way they do. That opens up to about 200, 300, 400 acres of opening. That way runs to thousands of acres of open. So if you have an engine out, you don't die. That deer is not very
I
scared.
can't believe she's just like chilling over there. She
She knows
we're here.
She knows we're here.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to support Brian Phillips RC and what we do in this pursuit, buy the stuff from the links. Also, you can support us monthly with Patreon or YouTube members, as well as one-time super thanks or PayPal if you don't want to be part of those clubs. But this is so cool. This is the type of thing, guys. If you don't fly radio-controlled airplanes, it doesn't mean you're going to see deer walking through a beautiful yard with a beautiful storm in the backdrop. But what it does mean is you definitely won't see those things if you're not flying RC. You could be golfing, you might see something like this. You could be hunting, you might see something like this. I would hope you do. You might be fishing, you can do all that stuff. And all those things have great value in life. But one thing I will tell you is that anybody can walk out and see a beautiful deer. Anybody can walk out and see a beautiful storm front, but not anybody can fly a Horten. Not anybody can jump on a hoe, a 229, HO 229. So you need to be that person. Break your own servo on your steering nose gear. Where'd she go?
She went around the backside of the house.
Oh, dang. So I didn't want to scare her. I didn't want to spook her, but
you're definitely not going to see or do that if you're sitting on your couch at home.
And that's what we do on this channel is we try to convince you to get out of the chair and into the air. Because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? We don't need to be doing this vicariously. Don't live vicariously through Brian Phillips RC. Sure, enjoy the experience, but live it with us, okay? These are not always bank breakers. Is this going to be the best RC choice you could ever make? No, it's not. But if it's your thing, you'll love it, okay? If it's in your budget and you can't afford a Super Tucano, you don't have 6S batteries lying around, you don't have big 6S chargers, great. Maybe you can go for this. Have fun. Put it in your car or your backpack. Hike with it and then pull it out, fly it around legally because it's sub 250. okay? You're not gonna do that with a Super Tucano, okay? Which, by the way, the Super Tucano, if I didn't mention, is awesome. And there is something about presence of a 1600 millimeter that comes in and lands like right there, repeatedly, every time. And I'm talking, I grease those landings every time I fly that plane, on and off camera. It is the most rewarding plane ever because it's so dang easy to fly in that regard. And then it gets up there and it looks good and it sounds
So
good.
impressive.
This thing feels totally different than the Super Tucano. First of all, there's a lot of agitation in setting up differential thrust and getting it to work. We got it to work pretty dang good. I'm happy with the way it worked. You could probably set up 100% mix and 100% mix on your throttle and your other channel that you use for differential thrust and have limited stabilization. But I will tell you this, stabilizers are gonna help make this thing work. I have since turned my gain quite a bit down because it got very excited when it drove by and saw me and it started trying to make little baby Hortens, okay? We had to turn the gains down about 30%, okay? I'm at 2X right now in forward programming on AS3X. You might be able to get back to 1X and then you'd ride just over 50%, maybe 60% to get the best results. But at the end of the day, these Delta wings are challenging to fly. They're not the easiest thing to fly, okay? Why are they not easy to fly? Well, they're easy to fly in a straight line. They're easy to lose sight of. They're easy to become disoriented because in this type of lighting, that looks a lot like, that looks a lot like, that looks a lot like, that looks a lot like that, okay? Yeah. Remember, when you learn to fly, the more skill you have, the quicker your brain is gonna understand the position that a particular airplane is pointed, okay? If you can't keep track of the way this is pointed, don't fly at twilight. Here's the catch. Twilight is almost always the most calm conditions. And so that's why we find ourselves flying at twilight many times, okay? I would recommend flying at twilight because it is some of the best conditions. I would not recommend flying at twilight if you don't have great lighting. We got this giant backdrop today and it really made it easy to see. Yeah. But this, compared to this, is actually quite easy to see. Sometimes these World War II olive drab and dark gray colors disappear. This is better than olive drab and this color. Yeah. We have had a couple of different planes over the years that disappeared, became a flying turd. And I don't want you to have a bad experience, okay? Hopefully you can tell that from our videos. Guys, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. We'll try to help you out as much as we can. If you want to use an NX8 Plus, we had great luck with ours. There's nothing wrong with going to a 10 or going to a 20 or IX20 or whatever it is. I will tell you that the 8 has been doing pretty much everything we need to do. Now it's 20 channels on version 3.XXX if you have a regular NX8. This is an NX8 Plus now, finally, okay? Because we ran out of model memory. Yes, you can do that, over 250 models, okay? Spectrum Airwear has limitations. By the way, when you have that many models in a transmitter, it's slow to turn on. It takes forever. So you might not want to go to 250 models. It just slows everything down. Okay, I think that's all there is to say about this. We're gonna go straight into our Unbox build radio setup. But just remember, and I'm gonna say this again, some of the settings that we set in the Unbox build radio setup, we changed pretty drastically. And then also, we went to the inside hole and then the outside hole respectively on both sides, and we pre-trimmed to where this aileron was almost a full width up at not even neutral trim, guys. You wanna be there, but you want your trim centered at that point, in my opinion, okay? Or slide your battery back just a wee bit and you'll get a little bit further to the tail heavy side, and then that will amplify the effectiveness of the elevator function of these telebons, okay? All right, that's all we got for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being part of Brian Phillips RC. Smash the like button. Watch the Unbox. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Oh, so ways to support us, Camera Crew says. Buy these things from the links. Monthly support through Patreon. Monthly support through members. Thanks for being members, guys. One-time donations from Super Thanks and one-time donations on PayPal, all of which are always accepted. But really, if you're gonna spend money and you wanna support Brian Phillips RC, just buy what you're liking from the links in the video description below. Then you don't have to spend your hard-earned money on that, and you can get an airplane out of the deal and help support our partners that support this whole thing, okay? That being said, if this is not your cup of tea and you don't like it for many different reasons, check out Brian Phillips RC right now or bprc.me, and you can find a competitive offering that might suit your fancy better, okay? We're always here for you. We hope you can tell, and if you can't tell, watch for a while and you'll understand. You'll hear our real true heart for this hobby. We love this hobby, we love the people in it, and we want the best for all of us. So stay tuned. Unbox coming right now. YouTube, Brian Phillips. We have the hoe today. Oh, the Horten 229. We're gonna open it right now. It's gonna be amazing. Welcome to Brian Phillips RC. We open these planes, we unbox and build them, and do the radio setup. This is from China Hobby Line. Check out the links in the video description below. And for that reason, we'll be opening a couple batteries here in a few minutes as well that will be unique to this size aircraft. And by the way, one thing I want to say now, because I'm going to forget to say it because it is a bigger plane, is this should be capable of being sub 250. So sub 250 means basically you don't have to worry about remote ID, which is nice in most circumstances. Okay, so that being said, without further ado, I bring you the Ho 229. So cool. Yes, this does come with twin 35mm EDFs, which is pretty exciting. It's 3 or 4S capable out of the box, removable and steerable semi-scale landing gear, which I'm curious about. Looks like we do have a steerable nose gear, which is sweet. And yes, this is gonna have differential thrust and 2 ailerons. So they are gonna act also as elevator. So we're gonna show you how to set that up. Of course, it's a little bit different, atypical style. Last China Hobby Lines we did was that absolute daydream of a plane, which is the Super Tucano. And if you guys ever want to find anything else that you're not seeing on this video, check out brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me if you don't know how to spell my name. You can find all sorts of good stuff. It's about 813 millimeters. And like I said, 2 EDFs, actual EDFs, 35 millimeters. So excited to see this one. We heard about it and we were just like, whoa, that's crazy. Well packed, looks like it's gonna be packable, so you can pack it and go it similar to an Ultra Micro. We'll see if it's anywhere near the echelon of Ultra Micro. Now this is a plug and fly, so you have to provide your own receiver and radio system, so we'll show you exactly how to do that in this build. You know, you might be better to just pop this tape so you can reuse it. That's what I'm gonna try on this one. Yeah, that's what I'll try. And it is labeled, it says right. So you can remember which one's which, because I always struggle. This one would say left, except it's covered up by tape. Okay, so keep those handy. And so sweet. It's like a giant Frisbee. Okay, that is really cool. And as you can see, this is a real design from a real what is it? Luftwaffe?
Yeah.
We can never say it right. You can see the EDFs. It doesn't look like we have tons of blades on the EDFs, just 5 blades. And the steerable nose gear looks to be a pretty simple application here. We have this rudder servo that will spin it in this bearing assembly. It does look like they've got a slot possibly for some sort of a vertical stabilizer if you want to use it. And you've got some reinforcements that go along. A little bit of paint over, what is that? The color of the top? Looks like they jigged it and painted it and then they must have messed up. But it's no big deal. It's going to be very small and simple issues. Now, I just want to point out something. I was seeing those control arms going from the top. So these are very small servos, but as you can see right here, they are ball link. Whoa, they're like a ball link snap-in sort of thing, which is a little bit different. And they're very small. And it looks like, I'm not sure how this pops up. Oh, there's a piece of tape here. It's almost indistinguishable. So pull that up, magnetically attached. There's even an instrument cluster. So all you other manufacturers that aren't putting instrument clusters, just look at how small this is and there's an instrument cluster. And it looks like the ESC is equipped with what appears to be obviously an EC3. Excuse me, not an EC3, sorry, an XT30. I don't know why I said that. And then it looks like we have another ESC. Why are there 2? Oh, they're coming out this way. That's so unusual. Look at that. They come out this way instead of going out the other way. That is really weird. But at the same time, it's really nice because we have what essentially looks like a balanced Hextronics lead. Yeah, it's like a full-size one, but it's got a good contact area. I'm a little bit nervous those are not going to want to carry that much current through, but very simple setup there. And then, of course, we're going to have to eventually provide our own receiver, which I'm a little bit nervous. Camera crew, back just a little bit because this thing, I got to swing it around. Oh, there's another cover here. So there's little micro plugs that are going to go into a receiver, but I do have a problem that I just thought of, and that is I don't know if I have this type of plug. So we're going to have to do a little bit of investigative journalism, or whatever you would call it, on Brian Phillips RC to figure out what we need. There are strong magnets to hold your lids if you want to that way. And in the meantime, while we figure out those plugs, because we are going to have to put in all these little micro plugs. So we have 2 different micro plugs here. Oh, that is a different plug too. Look, that one has 4 wires and this one has 3. Oh man, Gil, I didn't even think about that.
I have no idea.
So I'm not sure what we're going to do about that yet. Obviously, we're going to have to figure it out. This has 2 very small magnets. I didn't even think about that. I know that we were planning on trying to use an AR630 so we could have stabilizer and then set up 1 engine, well, EDF, 1 EDF, 1 aileron, 1 steerable nose gear. I don't even know if I'm going to use the steerable nose gear, to be honest, but that would give us a rudder as well. And then everything else we would do in unpluggable channels. So we'd actually be left with a spare channel. But there's more to unbox. Now, here on Brian Phillips RC, one of our claims to fame is that we go start to finish on every project that we do, except for maybe some of the really early projects. Should I keep that bag to put it in? Maybe
I think you'll just set it back in the foam.
Yeah, you'll probably just set it back in the foam, but you guys might want to do, okay, these are the fins that I was talking about. Yeah, it looks like one of them has protective on it, so it's white in color, and then one of them is beige in color. So I think this one's probably a better match for the bottom. So you can actually do either of them. So this one would be invisible, and this one would be visible. So if you want to go with the invisible, there's invisible. If you want to go with visible, there's visible. And then you can see the throw for the servo here is going to be largely neutral. If you're not going to fly with this, I would put it back just so it doesn't get janked when you land. It does feel like it's got a little bit of strength. I think that the EDFs are close enough to the center that you're still, you're going to have a yaw moment. So when you do differential thrust, you should be able to get rudder authority. But I'm not sure how that's going to work out. We will show the full truth, nothing but the true self of Scott. If this thing sucks big donkey balls, we will share that in full and true colors on Brian Phillips RC. That's what we do. That being said, if it's awesome and you want to get one, check it out. Links are in the video description below right now. And you can obviously fast forward. Ooh, if you mount your fin, you can still put your plane in. Look.
Nice.
So they think of a lot of details. It seems like China Hobby Line, I would have never thought they were going to sell airplanes. But since they are selling airplanes, the ones that they're selling have turned out to be pretty good. I think we're going to do a couple more of them soon. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the footage. At the end of the day, there's a million ways to get information about RC stuff. And so we really appreciate you coming to Brian Phillips RC. We would like to be the first of the party on stuff like this, but we were at Jonah. So, and this thing was sitting waiting for us. So thanks for being patient with us. We are excited about this product, but we just ran out of time. And the batteries didn't show up. So we had the plane, but we didn't have the batteries. Speaking of the batteries, we're gonna open them right now, and they are right here in this bag. So if you've never ordered anything from China Hobby Line, they do a pretty good job of shipping. Most of the stock that we've gotten has always come from North American warehouses and things like that. Can't necessarily say that's always going to be the case, but I know for us, it's always been the case. And so here we go. So we got, oh wow, there's several batteries in here. Sweet. Okay, so these are small batteries that are going to, there's 2 sizes that they were gonna send us. I didn't realize they were sending so many, that's awesome. So this is a mini star, 550 milliamp hours, 4S, 7 DC, good Lord. And I do like the size, it's short instead of being fat like always. So that is a different look and feel. In fact, I'm kind of curious about this. The reason this comes to mind is because this Micro Draco kind of has a weird battery size. Now, of course, to be sub 250 on this, kind of the same thing. But I'm just thinking about this right now because I know this one has kind of a weird battery setup. And I'm thinking, boy, that would be a really nice size in there. And you could push it back and get your CG right where you want it. So anyway, that's a good battery size. Let's go ahead and see how the setup for the charging works out. So we'll turn on our S2200. Of course, that's a Spectrum product. And of course, I have to provide some sort of an adapter. This one has a trifecta. I built this myself, so it's an XT30 that takes you back to an IC3 or EC3 in this case, but it'd be the same type of connector as it pertains to the charging mechanism here. And what I'm gonna do is I'll just go ahead and plug this in. We'll see what it does. These aren't high volt packs, are they? They're just regular voltage. Yeah, and it says it is 15.2 volts, so it is a high volt pack, and it's 8.36 watt hours if you're curious about those things. Remember, on these connectors, you got a top and bottom, and black is really hard to see on black, especially for lighting is poor. So be careful that you get that all the way over here. This little arrow, we rarely talk about it, but that says negative, and there's an arrow that points down to the furthest to the left pin. The same is true right here. And this is one of the only things I don't like about this particular charger is the black color makes it kind of hard to see those things. So I'm gonna press start, hold it, and then I'll go in here and I'll set the type of battery. It's a lithium polymer, high volt. And then I'm gonna set its 4S, it's already populated that. And then 2 amps is what comes up because that's what I was charging last time. So it looks like this one's 550, so we could easily do that. 770C, I figure take that divided by 10 gives you 7 times 550 would be, kind of like the max. So you could easily do, 3 amps or whatever. But I'm gonna charge this one at a more consistent 1C rate to start. So I'm gonna go to 0.6 amps or 600 milliamps. So remember, amps divided by 1,000 gives you milliamps. Milli is the prefix for thousandth, okay? So there you go. So we'll start that. It's gonna charge. This will eventually populate some data on the screen here, the charge rate, the milliamps that have been forced into the pack. Of course, it's fairly slow at a 0.6 amp charge rate. And then right here, you can see as the voltages get drawn up. But unlike a smart pack, you're gonna have a little bit more deviant when you first plug them in from standard, okay? Because smart packs will automatically balance each of the cells with their built-in battery management circuit. That's one thing you're not gonna get on a non-smart pack. Now, feel this, touch it. It's hot. So that means this is discharging. One of the biggest problems I have with auto discharging packs is that I paid to charge them, and then it wasted the energy, quite literally turned it to heat. So that is one of my frustrations when it comes to smart packs, but at the same time, it is a big safety feature and it does help to avoid your packs looking like watermelons, okay? If they start looking round, you didn't discharge it fast enough. This is a smart circuit that is not included in this type of battery, but high volt packs are just like a regular low volt or like a regular lithium polymer in terms of the battery connections to the charger. Just make sure you pick the right style and don't start a non-high volt pack on a high volt application. Because if you put a non-high volt into a high volt, then you can overcharge. It's very, bad condition to put yourself in, okay? And that leads me to one other safety concern, just as you guys are getting into this hobby. If you're brand new to the hobby and you don't know anything about batteries, don't make giant stacks of batteries. It's just generally a bad idea. We do have fire extinguishers around here. We would never get to a fire extinguisher if we had to run away on that. We would have to evacuate, and that's why we have 1, 2, 3, well, technically 4, 5 different evacuations, 6 channels that we could get away from a fire. And let's just put it this way. The best way to avoid a fire is don't charge too fast, don't discharge too fast, and don't shoot them with a gun or something like that, because that's usually what I do to my batteries that are dead. I will take them out back and shoot them, and it's really fun. And then they smoke like crazy, and the smoke catches fire, and it's really exciting. Okay, so we got 3 of those, so we'll see how that goes. Now, the other thing is, you saw that I had 3 plugs on that battery cable that I had built, okay? So that is another way you can charge batteries. It's called parallel charging. If you don't know anything about it, what you do is you hook up, obviously the balance leads would need to be landed in some sort of a balance configuration, AKA they would all be in parallel, 1, 2, 3, okay? And then you would hook up all your leads in parallel as well. And it becomes, in a sense, if you have 3 of these batteries, which are 550 milliamps each, and that's per cell, by the way, then you would have a total of 550 times 3, okay? So you would just add those numbers together if they're in parallel. Now, you're not gonna be doing series charging, especially not on a dumb pack. But when you hook these up, the idea is you want to be hooking them up so that they have about the same discharge level when you go to parallel charge. Otherwise, you're gonna be making your charger do all sorts of work to dissipate the energy that's been expelled into the top cells, like meaning the highest charge pack. It's still gonna get power. But then your balance circuit is gonna be discharging that internally into heat while the other 2 or 3 catch up, okay? So if you have similar condition, but you used one for 7 minutes, you used one for 5 minutes, you used one for 2 minutes, and then you crash the plane, don't parallel charge those, just charge them one at a time. You'll have better luck. If you don't know how to parallel charge, I'll show you a process of doing it right now, because again, this is China Hobby Line's video, we're gonna show it real quick. If you don't have a parallel circuit board or a parallel charging board, this is kind of the one I used to use all the time. They work really nice, and just be careful if you ever make fancy specials like the little micro pH equipped 2S adapters, because those go into your balance ports and they will dead short if you put a bigger battery. So if you were to hook up a 4S pack like this and then a 3S pack into the same thing, you'll dead short something. Be careful, okay? So the way you would do this is, I'll just take all this out so it looks like a virgin charger. Okay, you would do that, and then what you would do is you would basically make whatever adapter. I'm gonna actually pause this charge, okay? I'm gonna grab this little adapter, this fancy little adapter I built where I've got 3 XT30s that come out of this one IC3, and you're probably thinking, you can't plug that in there, that's an IC3, or excuse me, it's an EC3, which stands for E-Flight Connector 3. Oh, look at that, yes I can, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my voltmeter, or I'm gonna take an XBC 200 in this case, charge battery checker. I'm gonna plug this in, and we'll just see that it's at about 3.88. And let's see what this one's sitting at. If it's within a couple of tenths, we'll be good to go. It's about 3.86, good enough for me. So then I can take this and plug it in. You see how white is a lot easier to see the key points now. So I'm gonna find a 4S connector. You can tell which one it is because it's keyed and it will only fit in the correct size, but be careful. I'm gonna block the shade, sorry. Just be careful when you do that though, because when you plug into these longer ones, you can actually get a 4S to plug into it, okay? So I'm gonna go to another charge port, which is right here. So now if you were to hook this into the XBC, you would actually see feedback from this, and it would tell you all the data about those 2 cells summed together electrically. Now, the other thing that happens when you go into a parallel charging bank like this is that these cells will balance themselves to a certain extent, meaning this will be charging this if it was higher, or this will be charging that if it's higher. But it's gonna dissipate into this or vice versa, because they're never perfect, okay? Then I'm gonna take this is the discharge lead, and I'll go ahead and plug it in. This is gonna plug into there. These are in parallel. You can see all the reds are together, all the blacks are together. Pretty simple stuff. If you don't know how to solder, you should learn how to do that. So now we can plug this in. Now we've got this XT60, and like, how the heck are you gonna plug that into your adapter? Well, you can plug that in a number of different ways, but I have, like these things are really nice. We get these occasionally from different battery manufacturers, and they will receive an XT60 and become, in this case, an EC3 or an IC3 compatible plug. So you could also take this, ironically, and you could plug this in right here too, and you could get your maximum, you could get your just main discharge plug, and you could get the voltages, which is pretty cool. So anyway, and if you really wanted to, you could plug this in as well. Of course, it's not gonna do you much good, because why would you hook up all that stuff? Well, if you wanted to see the balance, okay? So now we're gonna take this whole kit and caboodle. Normally you would set it up where you're sitting next to the charger. I'm gonna take this on channel 2. I'm gonna plug that in. You're gonna see it populates just like the XBC battery checker. Then I'm gonna plug this in. I'm gonna press play, hold it for a moment. I'm gonna scroll up to the current setting. I'm gonna click on it, and then I'm gonna scroll in something higher. Whoops. I'm on high volts, so that's good. But I need to take this and I'm gonna go a little bit higher because we have several batteries together. So we're gonna go to 1.1 amps. So that's 1C. If I wanted to, I could probably go a little faster. In fact, let's go a little faster. We'll click on that. Let's go to 2.2. So it'd be 2200 milliamp hours and we can start. Okay, so now that's gonna start charging. Oh shoot, I'm on the wrong. Guys, do you see what happened? I was on channel 1, not channel 2. I apologize for the confusion, but yeah, just make sure you're on the right channel and then set it up. It went ahead and had 1.4 before, so we'll scroll that back up to 2.2 like we were discussing. It's already set to LiPo, so we want to make sure that's changed to lithium high volt. Okay, and then we'll scroll back down to start and hit start. Now, it won't start if it's not hooked up to the balance lead, unless it happens to be a Gen 2 or a Gen 1 pack, which would be a smart pack, okay? So now, if you're wondering, this one got a little bit of juice in it, but we're gonna have to charge it a little bit more to get it up to snuff. So I'll show you a single plug, and this is another way you can do this. You can build your little adapters like this. You can also buy these. If you're ever looking for an adapter like that, just check out brianphillipsrc.com and go to supplies. We have some of that stuff there. Plug that in and then press play. It automatically populated this channel here. And then I accidentally set it to 2.2, so I'm gonna scroll that back down to a more modest level of 1.1. That's double, or 2C. And you guys are probably thinking, if you're brand new to the hobby, you're like, well, what do you mean 2C? I mean 2C charge rate, which is ironic because this is a 7DC pack. That usually speaks to the discharge capability, but because discharging and charging have to do with the chemistry change, the speed with which the chemistry can change before it overheats and causes problems and puffs and things like that, then what you have to do is take that divided by 10 in most cases is a good rule of thumb. So for instance, it's really easy on some packs, like this pack here is a competitive offering, it's from Spectrum, but they say this is a 50C. So it'd be like, take 5C for the charge rate. So 5 times 5 is 25 amps, okay? Look right here. Max charge rate, 25 amps, okay? So that's just a good rule of thumb. 25 amp charge rate is a pretty fast charge rate. Most chargers can't handle it. That's why I really like the S2200, because it's 200 watts and it's 2 of them simultaneously, which is really nice. But just keep in mind, you're gonna be limited to whatever your input power is. This is AC powered, so you generally have enough. But if you're doing a DC configuration, because some of these will receive DC inputs, then you need to be careful. Again, if you're looking for something more economy, you could do an S155, but that's only 55 watts and it's a single channel. But you do get the EC3 and EC5. Okay, so you're probably wondering, why are we talking so much about charging? Well, because we don't do a lot of dumb packs anymore, because we have gotten so in bed with this smart technology. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons why we really like it is because they automatically discharge themselves. One of the reasons I don't like it is because you're kind of cornholed into using smart technology for some of the charging, 1. And 2, I don't like charging a battery and then having it automatically discharge, even though I really, really like that feature. It's like, it's the double-edged sword. I don't want it to be discharged when I need it, but I do want it to be discharged so the batteries maintain good health, chemistry, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the other battery. So just to be clear, this is another size class. And so we're gonna see what this one does. Both should fly this airplane pretty good. Okay, so this is a Lightning HV 120C, geez. So 8.75, 875 amp. I can't tell what that says. Does that say, oh, it's 0.75 amp hours. That can't be amp hours, that's milliamp hours. So it's 750, oh, it's 0.75 amp hours. So 0.75 amp hours would be the same as saying 750 milliamp hours. Okay, so we talked about that earlier. And yes, it is milli, not milla, just in case you guys were wondering, spell it out. 4S 100, that'd be 15.2 volts, 11.4 watt hours, I think. It's kind of hard to read. I don't really care, as long as I know what size it is. It's 750 milliamp hours. and it is a 4S. So it's got nice silicone leads, and looks like XT30, so same thing that would fit into the aircraft. Now, keeping with the same plan of charging this is a high volt pack. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and use this smaller wattage charger, just so you guys can see how this goes, okay? So I'm gonna plug this in. This has a smaller screen, of course, so it's gonna look almost exactly the same. It just happened to be smaller. And the only drawback on this is I have to find another adapter. We'll do that and come right back. Okay, so if you're new to RC, you wanna understand how nice it is to have adapters that go to adapters that go to adapters, but you'll find out real quick, okay? Because yes, I will occasionally build adapters, but I built many adapters over the years, and so I have them when I need them. So we'll plug this in. It's gonna be exactly the same expression as before. The only difference is we're gonna be changing the charge rate to something more like maybe 1.5 amp hours or 1500 milliamp hours. So then we'll just click, we'll scroll up to lithium polymer, and we'll change that to lithium high volts, and we'll change the current to about 1.5, which would be about 2C. And the voltage is 4.35, and we'll start, okay? So now that's gonna start charging. Now, one other thing I've noticed is that if you go back and forth from high volt to non-high volt, you need to be especially diligent to make sure that you don't follow up with a low volt pack, okay? And when I say a low volt pack, I mean a standard lithium polymer, lithium ion pack, because you will overcharge them. Remember, lithium polymer packs ride to about 4.2. That's where we run them, 4.2 to about 3, maybe 2.8, 2.3 if you're really pushing it. But 3.3 is kind of a rule of thumb for discharge. 3.8 would be a great storage level. It's where the chemistry is the most stable, but it's not totally dead, and you've got a little bit of time to slowly discharge over a long period before you would need it again. Now, also, you're gonna notice one thing about smart packs is they're gonna ride at about 3.9 volts on Gen 2 packs. This is Gen 1 pack. So if you have one that is without a balance lead, that's gonna be a Gen 2. So these come by default at 3.9 volts for their storage level. So they will ride back down to 3.9 after your designated auto discharge period, which in my case, I set them 240 hours, so I get the least benefit from it, but it gives me the most time from when I charge to when I need to have used it in an airplane or helicopter or whatever, okay? So with that being said, our next move is to probably open up these and figure out how they look. Guys, thanks for bearing with us on Brian Phillips RC. We don't mean to bore you with details you probably already know. I don't know who you are, and I don't know if you need the help. So we're gonna give the help to the people that are brand new in this hobby, because there's not a lot of helping hands out there, especially not when it's especially relevant. And the reason this works here is because we're talking about a specific plane that people might be wanting to fly. Now, we've answered our own questions here. That is very good. Thank you, China Hobby Lines, for thinking of that, because I was like, oh God, what are we gonna do?
I know.
That being said, we got some Velcro in here. Looks like a long piece and a short piece. It's got both the male and female side, if you will, and it feels actually pretty nice. It's got good flexibility to it. Landing gear are semi-scale. Ooh, they also have another style of extension cord, which is pretty cool. And so that's gonna help us to hook everything up. So guys, on Brian Phillips RC, we don't toy with your emotions by showing you plugs that we don't know if we have. We actually didn't know we did. We didn't know we had those. So here we go. Let's pull out the landing gear, see what the semi-scale landing gear look like. Ooh, they are very nice. They're soft, probably not soft enough, and that is very stiff. Here, grab this. Tell me if it's stiff. Just grab my hoe. Tell me if it's stiff.
Could be better.
Maybe not great. But I like the way that this goes. This is actually pressed onto the end of the music wire, and then it's clipped on at the top. Sorry guys, the focus was fighting us. It was eluding us. And then the nose gear, it looks like this swivels because it's probably allowed to move, and then this must clip in at the top. Let's take a look at that for a moment. I am gonna leave this cover, I'll just put it back on for now. Guys, when you get weird planes, okay, I'm just gonna tell you one thing that's very nice. If you have a manufacturer that's smart enough to tell you're not necessarily gonna have all the adapters, that was a good call. There are many planes we've done in the years, over the years, that do not include stuff like that. And it's like, what were you thinking? So this obviously would be wrong, but it kind of looks cool still. I do not think that this is a scale attribute of the airplane. I think it is an attribute to make it fly a little bit better for our experience in RC, okay? I don't think in real life it had it. So I just want to tell you that because I don't think it is, okay? So look, I love scale airplanes, and so I want to pay homage to scale aircraft. As you can see, this just swivels free. And so if you're going to use your linkage here to steer the wheel, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but there's some holes there. I'm guessing it's going to go forward and backward and do that. Now, the other thing is, if I have differential thrust, guess what I don't need to do? I don't need to set this up if I don't want to, because I can use differential thrust for ground handling, okay? So keep that in mind, guys. I am kind of leaning toward, I don't want to deal with this extra servo, but I feel like there's going to be some of you that want to, okay? So let's go ahead and see how involved that is. We might pause and come right back. Okay, so I'm at a crossroads because we did actually look at the instructions. I know it's unbelievable, but the instructions suggesting gluing this onto the plane if you're going to use the landing gear, okay? So these are going to glue in here. I don't know what direction because I didn't actually pay attention close, but they're going to snap in like this, okay? So you snap your gear in to the pocket, like hot pocket. So however this snaps. Oh, good Lord, that is really tediously difficult to get in. That would suck to get in on the plane. You see what I'm talking about? Like that is incredibly difficult to get in there. I want to see if I can get it to go now that I'm telling people I was just about ready to tell them I wasn't going to do it. But now that I can't do it, now I want to see if I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I got to go the other way. Oh yeah, I went the other way. That's why. Okay, so you see why I did that, guys? This way we can tell what direction they need to be mounted, okay? So you can tell it's pretty evident which way these go now. Well, except that it's not at all. Which way do they go?
I think the wheel, like pants, should be labeled.
Well, let's look at the picture on the box, hun. Oh, they're labeled?
I think so. Is there a little L?
Yeah, this says R. Look, it says R. R, matey.
Where? Oh, they are.
My hoe is labeled R. And this one's not. So right must be, okay, so the plane's going along. The right side would be here on my right hand. So right clearly goes that way. I mean, it's obviously not going to go that way. That'd be, well, wait, I don't know.
Nope, the doors go out.
The doors go out because, you know, I don't know. This is a futuristic, excuse me, it's not a futuristic. It is a historical, but never built plane. I am a little bit nervous about putting those on because I don't know if I care about the landing gear. So here's the thing. Okay, so we're on Brian Phillips RC. So obviously one of our objectives is to teach people how to do this stuff. So I think we're gonna take one for the team. We're just gonna go ahead and put it on. Now, you may not wanna put it on, and I would completely appreciate why you might not, because the reality is I'm probably not gonna be running around using the landing gear, okay? So we'll show you how to do it, and then you guys can make up your own mind. So, China glue, it's good glue. So we dump this stuff out. We're gonna just get that stuff out of the way. I'll show you how this works. China glue is a contact adhesive, and it works really nice. I like it a lot. You could use foam to foam. It also works really good. That's a pretty liberal dose, but whatever. So I'm just gonna squeeze this a little teeny bit, and you can see that's pretty liberal dose as well. Look at that, oh, the big string. You wanna get that string and just get all over your plane. But the beauty of China glue is now I can wipe this stuff right off of my fingers, and it just balls up and falls to the ground on my wife's kitchen counter. Right?
Yes.
So now look, I'm gonna take this. I know which one's right because this one says R. So now I'm gonna stick this down and I'm gonna wriggle it around like Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls, if you're washing, please smash a like button and hit us up. We would like you to jump from a helicopter while fitting into your sheeping bag from our property someday. That would be pretty awesome. And drinking pee from a snake skin.
You have to bring your own steak, though.
You have to bring your own. Well, we do have snakes here. We just pretend that we don't for camera crew's sake.
You wouldn't get very much.
Okay, so we're gonna let that down. Then we're gonna do the same thing. So anybody Okay, so we'll spread that. Okay, very nice. Very nice. So we'll just do this and I'll stick that into the goop. And then I'm gonna peel it up. You see how it gets stringy? Give them an extreme close-up, camera crew.
Yes.
Yes.
You can see all your strings.
My hoe is kind of stringy. Gross. And I'm gonna just let that down. Look at this, guys. That's why I like China glue. It's still connected. Oh, that is crazy. Holy cow. Okay, so now I've got like spider webs going on. So once that's pulled off, let it sit for mere moments. Okay, you'll probably think there's no way in heck that's gonna work. I could probably stick it on there and never have it come off again. But remember, we are gonna be able to remove them hypothetically. Now, let's talk about the other gear for a moment while we're kind of at a middle stage here, okay? So we have 4 screws in this bag. I have no idea what they're gonna do. They're gonna do something. Then I have this little doohickey, which is going to lock the nose gear in and then receive the linkage like this. I'm gonna go to the outside most hole. I'm gonna slide it in, give it a kick, and then this is gonna go into this hole, which is then going to allow you to set the set screw. In this case, this thing will have to come out when and if you choose not to use your nose gear is my expectation, okay?
Yes.
So this has to be kind of disassembled. So this is gonna drop down in, and then it's going to turn to whatever direction it's supposed to be. And it's gonna fall down in. Am I doing it right? And then that's gonna wrap around the shaft. So just like that. Now I'm gonna take this and idle the servo forward just so I have a little bit of freedom and flexibility there, but it's not wanting to lock all the way down. So I wanna see if I'm maybe missing something here slightly. Does it look like I'm missing it? I don't think I am. Yeah, see how it pushes down into the assembly? You know, I think what's going on is this needs to be up above, but then that would swivel. That would swivel. So I don't think that's true. I think it's got to be down like that. Yeah, there it goes.
There it goes.
There it goes. Okay, so I don't know what I did different, but I pressed it down and it just sort of popped into place. Now, that is going to idle and slip around until such a time as you have an opportunity to put the screws in. They come with 4 screws. You're going to need 2, okay? I mean, well, you're going to need like 1, but you're going to want 2.
You're going to put 2 in, yeah.
So, camera crew, you want to come up here and show the people what I'm doing? I'm opening the bag. I'm going to drop 2 of these out onto our counter where things go to be lost, okay? Check this out, guys. Watch. Right there. Get out of there. Get out of there. So there's 2. And then look, we have extra retention thingy-mabobbers. And I'll just put those in there. Man, this hoe comes with a lot.
A lot of spare parts.
A lot of spare parts for the hoe. So then I'm gonna grab 1.5 millimeter drive. I'm assuming this is gonna eventually bite. Yeah, that's gonna be a 1.5. So I'm just gonna tighten it down just a hair. I know it's not quite in the perfect spot yet, but that's good enough. I just wanted to see if it would bite. And it does appear to be giving us good purchase. So now I'll take the 1.5 out. I was also curious about the size. And then I'm gonna take a Phillips number, let's call it like 4 millimeter. Let's see how this works. Of course, the one time you really want it to not be a Phillips, it's a Phillips. And no, I'm not talking about Brian Phillips RC. So right here, I'm gonna stick that in the hole and I'm gonna turn it. And I'm gonna turn it, turn it, and turn it. By the way, it's gonna be the very draggy gear door. Like very, very draggy. Okay. So it's a lot of wear and tear on that servo. I can hear it kind of hissing as it moves forward and backward a little bit there. I'm not excited about that. Now you guys see how this Phillips bit goes in there? That'd be like a Phillips number 1 maybe. This happens to be called a 4 millimeter. Okay, so just drop that down in there. And see how I have to reach at a bit of an angle. That's why I especially didn't want this to be Phillips. I wanted it to be a hex drive. But honestly, it worked fine, okay? So that being said, we'll put that screwdriver back and the China glue should be settled unless we do the shelf liner.
Oh.
Okay. So these have had a chance to dry for a while. So we're going to stick them down, get them right the first time. You won't get a second time. So go into the seam here, stick it down. Any bets on if I can pick up the plane by it right now?
I'm sure you probably can.
Not only statically, but dynamically. I don't want to like rip it, but that is on there very nicely. Very nice.
I do like that they leave those off. Then if you know you're going to hand launch belly land, then you just want to put them on.
Yeah, I know, but then it's one thing you got to glue. So pressing this down. Now, I will admit, many times, oh, the CG's marked, I think, right here. Look, holy cow, they also gave us access to the EDFs. I don't know if I really want to pull that out because I think it's glued. Okay, so I'm going to leave those. But yeah, that would give you access to the fans. Okay, so we have landing gear installed. That's pretty sweet. I do not know if the angle of incidence is correct, but that would help it to take off. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, we have to glue that fin.
If you want the fin.
The fin is necessary for flight.
It says?
It is not scale to the original plane, but it does say that it should be used.
Okay, so are we going to do the clear one then?
It says the colored one is better for orientation, and then the clear one is better if you don't want to see it. So
I don't want to see it. So let's look, guys.
Okay.
See, this one comes with covers, okay? So I'm going to go up here to this sharp point, and this is plexi or some sort of derivative, okay? And I'm going to peel this down. This kind of reminds me of the E-Flight B2 because they have a fin, but we didn't get our fin, remember?
Oh.
So theirs has pretty sophisticated programming and it comes right out of the box set up. So it might be a little easier for the average Joe that doesn't know a lot about planes. But I will tell you this, I am quite excited to see this. Thank you, camera crew. Now, if you have to get your hoe flipped upside down on her back and you're trying to fill her up with sticky stuff, you might want to be careful the way you do it, because if you try to squeeze the sticky tube into this tiny little crack, you're gonna probably have to put it on here. Now keep in mind, this is clear. You're gonna see, even though this dries relatively clear, when you're applying this to your hoe, be careful, because you don't want your hoe to have sticky stuff all over her, okay? It's gonna look bad. So look, see that? Pretty cool. So we'll just do a light little dusting, if you will. Now, you don't need a lot of glue to hold this in here. The other thing you could do is maybe on this glue, you might do CA, but you know what happens when you use CA on clear plastic? It's gonna discolor this stuff, okay? So you can see what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my finger in the clean part of the plastic and pull down and away, all the way down the length of it. I'm just gonna work this little glue seam until we have a little bit spread out, and then regrettably, I'm just gonna have to plop it in there and there's gonna be a little bit of a roll of glue. I don't like it, but that's probably the easiest way to get it done. I didn't even put it all the way in. I'm just gonna clean my fingers off because I am touching this clear thing. I want it to stay clean, okay? So fear not, China glue rubs off, okay? So I'm gonna stuff this crack all the way tight, all the way forward, and then I'm gonna just dip it down in there. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna mess with it. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but wouldn't you normally like spread that out or something? No, I would not. I would let it dry. And if I'm really concerned about that looking perfect, as perfect can be, I will let it dry and then I will peel it out from the top. But the trade-off is you might take a little bit of the finish, okay? That will stay. So I'm fine with that. That's like a ventral fin, if you will. Again, we are all in agreement that that's not scale. I don't care. It's good enough for me. I don't need the orientation because I'll probably have the gear on for the Maiden, and then we'll see how it flies. Maybe it'll survive long enough for a few flights, I hope. So that being said, the next big move we have to do is we have to go ahead and figure out how we're gonna get our receiver installed. So I'm gonna just go ahead and pull these lids off. They do come with the tape applied, and they're very hard to see, so it's beautiful. So I'm just gonna put this over here. Now we need to figure out how the heck we're gonna do this, okay? So there's one servo here, which goes to the back. So I think what I'm gonna defer to is let's plug in our little extension doohickeys. And then what we're planning on using is an AR630. And why the 630? You only need a few channels to run this thing. Yeah, you're right. You could do a throttle channel, a rudder channel, an elevator, and aileron channel, which would be mixed into like a VTOL, okay? And then you could fly this plane. But I'm just gonna make an assignment for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. So I know I need the 5 channels. That being said, this doesn't have an external antenna, which will help with space issues. And we do need to see how the battery is going to fit. Okay. So it looks like this battery is done and we have 3 of them. So I'm going to defer to that one. They're actually all done now. Okay. So this thing's charged, ready to rock and roll. So now we can see how it fits in here. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we try our very best to give you guys start to finish action. That includes all the steps up to and including packages. Now, I understand that you don't need to know how to open these packages, and so we don't always talk about it, but the truth is there's a lot of steps to get these things set up if you want them to work right out of the box, okay? If I weren't filming this, I bet I could spend half an hour and have this plane flying, okay? But we are filming it, so it takes a little bit longer. If we help you out in some way, let us know in the comments below and smash the like button before you continue. Don't forget, AR630, very small package. Yes, if you really have space issues, you can take this cabinet off. I've only done that a handful of times, and it looks like they use hex drive screws, which is ironic because Spectrum uses hex screws, but then Verizon still gives us Phillips screws once in a while, which is ironic. I shouldn't complain about Phillips screws because I'm Brian Phillips, and I definitely don't get royalties. That being said, I also don't get royalties from Phillips 66 or any of the other Phillipses that you guys see. Just, you know, that's not us. I have to work for a living. Okay, so getting back to the point, this 630 can be positioned in a lot of different ways, but it looks like we're to be limited to this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, that sort of thing, okay? So let's do something a little different on this. I've got all these things dumped out. These are gonna be like an extension cord, okay? They're gonna give you more length and we might need some, but let's see where things are gonna sit, okay? Obviously we have our twin ESCs, which is nice, and we are gonna have to drive both of them, but I'm not sure why we have a white cable and over here, this. So I'm assuming there's some sort of a BEC sort of takeoff on one of them, and there's not on the other, but I frankly do not know. I don't understand why there's an additional cable. It might be some sort of a programming cable, but let's dump these out to see if maybe there's a splitter. And there is a splitter, okay? So this cable has 4, this cable has 3. So I assume that at some point somebody said, hey, they're gonna need to plug it in. But then for those of us that wanna do differential thrust, they gave us the other style of cable. You see? Sweet. So they didn't cornhole us. I was very nervous they'd cornholed us into just doing one throttle channel. That would have really sucked the big one. So what we're gonna do is we're also gonna look at these cables. Ah, look, they gave us a splitter if we wanted to do it that way for throttle, but we're not gonna do it that way. They gave us this one if we wanted to do it, and they gave us the individuals if we wanted to do it this way as well. And it looks like they probably also gave us, yep, they gave us one. Okay, so this is the big one. So when you plug this in, it's gonna go to one side or the other, and it's kind of weird. I just got lucky. I picked the right direction. You can tell what direction it goes kind of from the colors, okay? But once this plugs in, make sure it's fully seated, and now we're ready to go into the receiver. Then let's plug into the other one. This one, of course, has just 3 pins. So when I plug this in, you can see that little detent right in front of my thumbnail on my left hand that's moving. That is gonna go in and reach into the detent of the other end. But just remember, sometimes they don't always totally seat, and you wanna make sure that you get good seating on these applications. Also note that the brown is down and the black is down, the red is in the center, and then the signal in this case would be blue. It's ironic that it's blue. We don't see a lot of blue signal lines, but it is what it is, okay? Now, we have to be able to reach back to where our receiver is, but I think we're gonna be okay, because look at this. We've got now one aileron V-tail thingy. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna find that detent, and we're gonna plug it in. And we're gonna look for colors. Brown is up, yellow is down. Cool. Then we're gonna go to the other one. And we're gonna do this, brown is up and yellow is down. Sweet, that's the other aileron. And then this is the rudder for the steerable nose gear. So I'm gonna flip this over so they align properly. Now, just full disclosure, guys, before you freak out, there is a way to do this with small receivers that don't need big adapters. You can also build your own ends if you are into tedious and terrible tasks. I would not recommend it if you're a beginner. It's a huge pain, okay? So let's talk about throttle. Throttle is going to be on channel 1. We do know that. I'm going to assign this my master ESC. Why? Because it has the extra wire, and I don't know what it does, but I'm still plug it in anyway. It does not appear to terminate to anything. As you can see, there's only 3 pins coming out and 4 pins going in. Okay, so it must be SRXL2 sort of something or another. Then I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna sneak it out the back of my hoe. I'm just gonna slide it right into the tight spot on my hoe. And hun, how do you like the way I slid that through? Was it good? Did I do it right?
Well, we'll see.
Then I'm gonna take this up to a higher channel. Why don't we just call it 6 for now, because 5 would be gear by default. I have no idea if I'm right, I might get lucky. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, crap, Brian, how are you gonna mount that thing? You've got all your wires plugged in. Yes, good point. I was thinking I was gonna stick it in the hole right here, okay? And I was gonna see how it fits, because truth is, it's holding it really nicely, okay?
Oh, just right there?
I was gonna stuff it in there, but then that means I need to put the wires over top. And so I'm trying to decide if I can get enough clearance to slide this deeper so it goes all the way to the back of the pocket. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, but how the heck are you gonna land the rest of your cables? Good question, I don't know. So what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna go over the top with these. So I know this is rudder. How often is rudder not channel 2, or is it 3?
Rudder would be 4, actually.
Typically?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're gonna use our forceps. I want the bent tip forceps like this. I'm gonna reach through my hoe and grab the wire, okay? Then I'm gonna pull the wire through the top. And you said channel 4 usually?
Yeah.
Okay, so channel 4, remember brown is down in this case. So I'm gonna go to channel 4. How do we know it's channel 4? Well, when we get to radio setup, we'll verify. And then we have one that's on the right. Gosh, I do not know where these are gonna land, but I'm gonna just go with this is one of 2 or 3, likely. Okay, so slide that through. Once it's slid through, brown is down. I'm gonna go to 2 for this one. We have no idea if it's right, but it doesn't really matter yet. And then we're gonna go with this one. This one is gonna go under. Now keep in mind our throttle is gonna wanna turn on one of the ESCs until we get the setup done, okay? Because one of them is gonna be trapped at 0%, which is the center of the pulse width modulation range on the channel that we have not configured yet, which is channel 6. So this ESC, whichever one that controls, looks like it controls the one that goes to this side, will actually be running. So you may actually leave that unplugged until such a time as you can make your assignments. But for the sake of argument and for the length of the video, which, you know, Brian Phillips RC for short videos, obviously, we are gonna leave it plugged in for excitement, okay? So now all these extras can go back in here. These are awesome tools to keep in your tool bag. Never sell these, never get rid of these. Keep these until the day you die. And when you're buried, have them put it in your pocket. I'm just kidding, you don't have to keep them.
I'm going to, because I don't want to have to deal with them.
Oh, you want the dad down?
Put them in your pocket.
Okay, great. Glad do you have it on the calendar yet?
Yep, I do.
So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the radio setup portion of this build. And this is probably where some of you have come to enjoy some help, okay? If you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, first of all, welcome to Brian Phillips RC. We're here to help the RC community with their RC endeavors. And largely we wanna help you guys get the radios set up properly, or at least the way that we do, so that you've got a basis for getting started and a high probability of success. Of course, there is not a right or wrong way to do these things. It's just the way that Brian does it might give you a leg up on competitive offerings where you don't get help. Okay, so we're gonna turn on our NX8 Plus. If you have an NX8 and you haven't updated the firmware to 3 point something, something, something or higher, then you have an NX8. And if you have an NX8 that's just 2 point something, 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 or 1, which I don't even think you can have those, then you won't have 20 channels. But we have 20 channels. And all you have to do is update the firmware and you can get that. So I would highly recommend you consider it. I really like the NX8. It's been a good utility for us, and we use it a lot, okay? So that being said, this is not mounted, it is spatially aware. So it's gonna matter, but until we get it set up, it's not gonna matter. Cancel and back, add new model. So cancel and back is a shortcut to model select, add new model. We're gonna create an acro, okay? We're gonna watch this start to finish here. That's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. Model type is already set as an acro. Model name, this is what we're gonna type in the name. And this is the HO, right?
It's the Horten HO229.
So the HO 229?
Sure.
Geez, that's a big number. Okay, so we typed in the HO 229 twin 35 millimeter China hobby line. So China hobby lines. Okay, so we'll hit back. Aircraft type. The wing is not normal. It is a, what is this thing? It's an Elevon, I think. And I don't know the difference between A and B. I don't know that we can really tell just quite yet. Technically, if you look at where the servos stick out, we're closer to, so they're outboard. Yeah, I think they're closer to that. So just Elevon. And then the tail type is technically, we have a rudder. So I think it's just going to be a normal. Okay, but I want to see what they offer. Yeah, so it'd just be normal. And then this is one other thing, throttle mode. I'm trying to remember, multi-engine. I think if you do 2, you can do throttle 1, throttle 2. I just don't know what the settings are yet. Because I think we've done this just once. If this doesn't work, we'll show you the easier way. So throttle 2. Okay, then I'm gonna go back all the way. I'm gonna click and set up rates and expo first, because it's easy to get to. So switch F. I'm gonna set up 5% expo here, 10, and then 20. This is highly subjective, guys. Don't beat me up. Everybody does it a little bit different. I don't have a lot of low rates, but I start here and I tie all my stuff to one switch. Why? Because I don't want 400 switches to deal with. You're lucky to deal with one switch or 2 switches while you're flying a plane, especially on Maiden. And what we do on Brian Phillips RC is almost always a Maiden flight or one of the first flights. Okay, so we start here. We have a little bit more sensitivity or a little bit more deadening we can do at the flip of a switch, but we rarely switch out of the middle, just so you guys know. So we do 5 and then 10. That's where we usually start. And then we have 20. So suppose you're flying and you realize one of the axis of control is too touchy, say it's the rudder, then you could kick it to the lower rate, land, and then change your middle to 20. And then you might make this one 40 or 30 or some such thing, okay? So anyway, it's just all about choices, okay? So differential is not differential thrust. Throttle cut is going to be on switch H. But I don't know how throttle is going to work because I haven't made any assignment for the other throttle. I think I do that somewhere else, just not 100% sure where yet. Then timer, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. I'm going to have it start with activation by going over 25%. Clear's going to reset it. At 1 minute, I want a voice call out. At 20 seconds, I want nothing. At 10 seconds, I want a voice countdown with expiration being a tone and vibrate and a tone every minute thereafter. Okay, then we could bind, monitor 2. Okay, so I'm gonna click back. I'm gonna go over 1. Now you can see throttle. Throttle cuts off, nothing else is moving. Throttle cuts back on. So we already know that channel 6 is where we're plugged into the other throttle. So I'm gonna go back down to system setup, disconnect RF. That orange light indicates RF is disconnected when it shuts off. Aircraft type, you remember we set, in this point, we set multi-engine 2, okay? Oh, I never selected an image, sorry. Standard image file, which one? I think we'll just do, we've got the twin engine, that's good enough. And then flight mode setup. We are going to eventually set up a flight mode, so I'll go ahead and set switch D. And then I'll go down to spoken flight mode. This one's going to say safe, or excuse me, AS3X. So I'm going to cancel to clear. So this is going to say artificial 3-axis stabilization. So artificial stabilization 3-axis, because it's AS3X. This is what's displayed on the screen. And then this is what's going to be saying, it's said out loud every time you come from a different switch condition to the switch condition on D where we set it up. So we'll come back when we're done scrolling. All right, so AS3X mode. Then this one's going to be off. I mean, I doubt we're going to have an off mode in this one that really does anything, because we're not going to have a reason to fly with off. But I always set it just in case somebody wants it. So then we'll have it speak the word off in the event of that switch condition. There are other places in the menu structures where you can make audio events happen, but this is just tied specifically to flight modes, okay? So go to the third one. We're gonna highlight, this is gonna be safe, so cancel. This is gonna be sensor assisted flight envelope, which is how we do automatic wing leveling for both pitch and roll. And then we have limited bank angles that we can set up as well. And I'll probably just leave them, I'll still open them all the way up, because this plane is probably going to be a nice one to have safe on, even for a more experienced pilot, okay? So here's safe. Okay, very good. So that does not set the mode. It's just an audio and visual event, so you can see it on the screen. Now, channel sign, that's what I was looking for. Throttle is here, and then flap is here, but we don't care about flap. So I'm gonna go to, can I go to all the way down? Oop, look, there's throttle. Can I set up throttle 2? Is there a throttle 2 already in this configuration? Left aileron gear servo test, that's cool. I didn't know there was a cycler. Okay, so let's see. Just tell me if you see something, hon. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you're scrolling fast, you'll miss it. Okay, so I don't see another throttle, so I'm not sure if we're gonna do anything special. So what I'll do is I'll just go to aux 6. Ooh, it's skipping over. See that? You know why?
Because you're on that channel?
No, it's because it's designated to flaps. Oh, no, I just hit cancel and it cleared it.
Oh, okay.
Did you see that? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so I hit this and it cleared it. So the input for aux 6 is gonna be a mix. So we're not gonna tie it to a switch here, okay? So then we're not doing thrust reverse on this, so we don't have to worry about that. And so I'm gonna take aux 7, the first available, and I'll set it to either switch D so I can control my flight modes later in forward programming, or I can scroll all the way down and then 1 over, it'll go to flight mode. So let's do flight mode on aux 7. Okay, remember, flight mode is tied to this, switch D, and flight mode is also tied to that because we tied that to the menu. So if you change that later, it will change in both places, which is kind of nice. Channel sign evidently is not where you set up that flight thing. And we have the rotary knob on aux 6 if you want to change gains. I just want to double check it's not on page 2. Why is gear up on 13? That's so weird. Okay. All right. So you can also see here, this is where you would be able to tell what you're hooked up to. So right aileron, left aileron, rudder. I don't even know which way we got it, but I think we got it right. So we'll find out here shortly. Now, in order to have differential thrust, I'm clearing my timer. In order to have differential thrust, you're gonna have to have some simple mixing. And I'm gonna just do normal. Do we have one that's already set up? So I'm gonna go throttle 2, which is actually aux 6. Ooh, look, it's skipping over.
I wonder if there's a throttle 2 in that menu.
Maybe.
Because you have to pick.
Yeah, that's dumb. Why does it not have it? See that? Look, it skips right over it. Well, how the heck am I gonna do that? Very weird. So I'm gonna click this and then I'm gonna click it and move it over. Nope, it doesn't let us. You know why? Because it must be set to flaps. So in that case, why is that? Why is there even a flap mode?
Right, because it's not even
It's not a flap wing type. So, I do not know how this is gonna work. So I'm gonna go back to system setup, disconnect RF, And I'm gonna go back to not aircraft, not model type, but aircraft type. I just want to see what it says. It says Elevon with a rudder. I just wonder if I'm missing something here. Okay, so if I did normal there and I did V-tail, that's the other thing that we might need to be doing. Okay, so if we did that, see what's going on? So it'd be a Teleron normal, and then the wing is a normal wing. But then we would have to mix the ailerons in, would we? Because it's a tail that is an aileron and an elevator. Guys, I may have misled you. If I did, I apologize. But it is kind of cool. And this multi-engine doesn't appear to give us access to what I was expecting, so I'm going to just turn it off. And then I'm going to go back to channel assign. And it looks like this went back to D, so that was defaulted back to D. Okay? So I'm going to just clear that to inhibit. Ooh, I wonder if it's because I inhibited it. No, it should still give us access. That's still there. That's still there. Look, here's the elevator on channel 9. Left elevator, right elevator. Well, now what the heck?
So it changed from left aileron, right aileron.
Yeah, it did. That's right. So I need to go back into the aircraft type because we can't have a normal wing. I wonder if we have to do both Elevon and Taileron. That'd be weird. If that's the case, I haven't done this for like ever. It's kind of weird. So let's see what channel assign says. Yeah, that looks more like it. But then channel 6 is still set to flap. So I'm going to clear that back to aux 6. And I'm going to take inhibit and I'm just going to set it to... I don't know if I want to set it to throttle because I don't want it to always be active.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just leave it. Let's just leave it inhibited and see what we can do. Okay, so over in this menu now, we have throttle cuts on. I'm going to turn it off. We have throttle. We have ailerons. They're going the same direction. Doesn't really matter. We have elevator. Looks like they're going opposite direction, which is fine. And then we have a rudder. Okay, so that's great. Those are the main channels we need. Throttle cut is working, but then channel 6 is where we're plugged into our other ESC. So you see it's up. So we need to figure out how to mix that. So we go to mixing. We go to throttle to aux 6. Now it shows 6. Okay, and we want the rate to be 100% to 100%. Okay. And so as the throttle stick moves, you can see it's moving now. Okay. Okay, so 100% and 100%. And this is going to take it so that they go the same amount up as they do down. See, they're both going up, they're both going down. Okay, great. And we want that to always be on, okay? It's very critical, okay? Then we need to make another mix that's normal, and we want the mix to be, rudder. So we want rudder to impact throttle at a rate of something. Okay, so I don't know how much it's going to be, but let's just say 25% plus and minus. I can't, it's been a while since I've done this, so I'll have to play with this just a little bit on camera. So throttle cut is off. I give throttle, I give rudder, and it's going to move the rudder, but it's moving the throttle, but you see it's moving, is it moving both? No, it's just moving the one, okay? So that's good. And then I'm going to go to another just normal, and this one's going to be rudder as well. And it's going to be rudder, and it's going to be tied to aux 6, and it's going to be negative 25, okay? So, and that amplitude can change depending on how much it's working. You might want more, you might want less. So as you move the rudder, it's going to change your position of throttle. See, at full throttle, it's going to kick one up, kick one down. And then just kind of see the rudder also working, okay? If you can't quite see, I'm going to walk all the way out and scroll over to the monitor 1. Throttle goes up, differential, differential, okay? And then down, differential, differential. Now, throttle cuts on, that one still moves. So, aux 6 needs to have another mix. Normal, This is going to be switch, whatever that is, H. Can I call out throttle cut? No. So that's H. See, it's H, guys. So I'm going to call out H, and that's going to be tied to aux 6 at a rate of offset. I don't know if I want it to be minus 100 or what, but let's see how it works, because you don't want to like give it a negative call. So throttle cut's on. As you can see, aux 6 is still moving, so that's not right. Because H is probably in the opposite condition. So I need to go offset plus 100. See how it's, is it going down? No, it's not. Okay. See how it's not moving? Aux 6 isn't, so that's wrong. See how it's not moving? So that's wrong. So now I got to move this one. Oh, now it's moving. You see how it's going down? So this is going to give us our throttle cut. It's going to tie. But you see, it's still allowed to move, but it's not moving as much, okay? So now I need to set an offset, I believe. There might be a better way to do this. I wonder if digital switch setup would do this. But you see, now that's moving it up, so we want to go the other way. So regardless of the condition of the switch, the throttle is either a negative or 0, okay? And then when I go into live mode, it moves up and down. Now, when I put on throttle cut, it's going to still mix the rudder. So if this stick is up all the way, you could get it to move, okay? So that means what we're going to do is we're going to go into both of these rudders, and we're going to set it to only do the mixing when the throttle cut is off, okay? So in this condition, but not in this condition, you see? So that was plus 25. So sorry, guys, that was a miss on my part. This is part of the way you learn to do this stuff, is just by going through it. Okay, so now if throttle cut is on, it's going to stop that mix. When throttle cut is not on, it's going to allow the mix. Now we're going to do the same thing for the aux 6. Remember, minus 25. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go to switch H. So in this condition, I want it on, and this, I want it off. So in the on condition, I want it minus 25 and minus 25. We might want 30 when we're all said and done. We might want 40, but for now, we're just going to do 25. Okay? So now, when throttle cut's off and I have the stick, it moves both of the throttles and gives you differential thrust. When you turn on throttle cut, it stops that mix from happening. So the rudder moves, but both of the throttle conditions stay low. Okay? But it looks like we still have a little bit of mixing to do on this. See how this shuts it off? I think what might be easier is, I wonder if throttle cut gives us a second one. Nope. Okay, so then if I did a digital switch, could we set up switch H? Nope, we don't want to screw with that, because that's not going to do us any good. Okay, so far I think we've got it to where it works. I might play with that just a little bit, but we got to bind this thing at some point. Throttle cut's on from monitor. Back one. You can tell it's at least at 0 or below, but I don't like that it's at minus 150. It might not arm, or it might, worse yet, train at the wrong scale in magnitude. So I need to make this equal to 0. When throttle cut's on and the throttle stick is down, you see how it's at minus 150? See, it's only allowed to go so far. Let's tie that to 0. See, that brings you up. Can I just bring this down further? See, it goes to minus 150. See that? I don't like that. My fear is it's going to move still. Yeah, there, it's bringing it up. You see how it brings it to neutral? Okay, there we go. So we're at minus 98, but it's allowing it to move. Okay. Oh, I know what we can do. Look, we can set it up like this. We'll set this also to H. Okay. So when H is on, Or we might even be able to set throttle. If throttle moves, oh, it didn't like that. Can you do throttle? I don't think you can qualify with throttle. Can you? Oh, yep, you can. But I think it's going to be like ranges. So that might be kind of a pain in the butt. I'm going to play with this. We'll come right back when I figure it out. Okay, so just full disclosure, this has a little bit to do with my exact stick positions for, you know, if you have to recalibrate your stick once in a while, it's no big deal. But anyway, so H is tied to auxiliary 6. That's where we hooked up our other throttle. When H is on, okay, when H is on, I'm going to do something. When H is off, I'm going to disqualify it, okay? So I have it grayed out. So you click it, you click it again, it goes gray, okay? So when it's on, you can tell that little dot will tell you what position you're in, okay? So it just takes out the mix. Then when you're in the throttle cut, I want to make this not respond to throttle. So you can see it's at 2, so I'm going to clear that. See how it moves up and down? I want that not to be able to move up. So the first thing we got to do is we got to go to minus 100 from this standpoint, okay? Oh, you know what? I know what we need to do. I know what I've been doing wrong. I think I just got to tie it minus 100, minus 100. Sorry, guys. Drawing a blank here. But see, it's going backward. Why is it going backward? See, it's all the way on now. Oh, you know why? Because we're tied to what the H condition is doing. The H is driving this output, so I just happen to get lucky that's backward. So this actually needs to be probably plus 100, not negative 100. This is luck of the draw with the way the switch condition happens to be. Okay. See, that's going to draw it down now. So then regardless of the stick position, there's going to be no output. So let's see how this works. Okay, so with throttle cut on, you see it's neutral at 0 now. Not plus 100, not minus 100. Okay? Except it moves up now. So I obviously don't want it to move up. So one of these is backward. I'm sorry, guys. We'll pause and figure it out. Okay, so I figured it out, guys. I am really sorry. Throttle cuts off. Look at this. It moves up and down. You've got your differential thrust. Everything looks delicious. Throttle cuts on. I'm going to show you what I did. I disconnected RF and I said, there's got to be something going on here because look, on monitor now, we have aux 6 here, but check this out. If you go to system setup, disconnect RF, and you go back to aircraft type, you remember how I said 2 engines at first? I put it back to 2 engines, okay? Then I went to this. I don't even know what that crap means. It doesn't matter because look, on channel assign, now that I got that VTEL thing taken care of, I can change this. And I was just scrolling through and I realized, oh, there is throttle 2. So once I got throttle 2 set up, then immediately when I go over to the throttle cuts off, they both work. Throttle cuts on, it locks it down and it holds it down. Even with differential thrust, it's not doing anything. That's because if we go into mixing, I'll show you what happens. Where is mixing? Come on, mixing. There you are. So these are now tied to aux 6, okay? I could change that to throttle 2. I'm just going to see if I can scroll and see if it'll show up ever. It might not actually show up in this menu. Yeah, see, it doesn't show up in this menu, okay? So you still have to call out aux 6, okay? So we didn't do anything wrong. And it's only going to work for the differential thrust when H is active, okay? So I don't even think I need this mix, but this is where I ended up. So I'm gonna actually turn this off. I'm gonna reset it and see if it works, okay? So that's totally reset. All we have is, let's walk out and go to monitor, back 1. We have left and right, and as you can see with throttle cut on, H is toward my belly, throttle's not working. Now throttle cut is off and it moves up and you have differential and differential. Okay, very good. So basically, all we had to do was get the right call out for throttle too, and that re-enables the throttle cut. There is ways to do fancy mixing. I just don't want throttle ranges to be screwed up when we bind this for the first time. Clearing the timer, going back to monitor mode, throttle cuts on, we're at -100, and we're at -100 versus 0, okay? Makes sense? So now we're not in the middle of the range like I feared. Throttle cuts on, this is down, we're ready to bind. Now you'll note this isn't mounted, but it doesn't really matter yet because we gotta make sure the dang thing works before we get a whole lot further. Turning this on for the first time might be a little bit exciting, so we'll find out. This is a little bit wider than the opening, but it'll fit in there between the wires, okay? So now that we have that plugged in, I'm gonna press the bind button, and then I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna click, scroll down to bind, disconnect RF, adjust throttle stick to the off position, okay? Holding. We're waiting. It's auto configuring for some telemetry data. Just make sure you got a hold of it because if the EDFs go the wrong way, it'll still try to pull away from you. Okay, so now we know that we have some movement, we have some movement, we have some movement. That's always fancy. Before I go any further, I'm gonna straighten the wheel, which will take just 2 seconds so that it's done. I'm gonna loosen this. I'm gonna physically straighten the wheel. And then I'm gonna tighten this. That should, I'm gonna straighten this, and then I'm gonna tighten this down. That's gonna get us so that the wheel is going straight. You don't wanna use your mechanical trim, you don't wanna use your trim to make that big adjustment, okay? So we've got that. We don't even know if it's going the right way yet. We'll find out in mere moments. Now that is a spatially aware receiver, but we haven't set anything up. So let's just see if our basic principal functions are working right. So I'm gonna hold this really strong, so in case it takes off. My throttle cut is currently on, I'm gonna pull it away. Okay, good. And there's nothing because they're not armed, okay? Throttle cut's on. I'm gonna go ahead and try to arm, but I am gonna go over to monitor mode and just verify we're at -100. So I'm gonna power cycle, now that we're bound. I'm gonna power cycle, throttle cut is on. They never armed, do. That was only 1 beep, not 2, okay? So throttle cuts off, nothing. So we're gonna challenge the system to work by doing it a different way. Throttle cuts back on, unplug the battery, shut off the throttle cut, full throttle. This is where you wanna be extra careful, don't stick your fingers in there. We're gonna arm it with the throttle at full. We're gonna wait for chirps. Come on. You can do it. Come on, sing a song. We're just waiting for chirps and then we'll pull the stick down. But I don't know if it's gonna go into the programming mode. All the way down, nothing's changed. Okay, so throttle cuts on. It's not arming the ESC, so we have to do a little bit of due diligence and figure out why it's not arming. And I think it's probably got something to do with dual ESCs and fighting ground commons, but I don't know that for a fact. So I'm just gonna see which one's which. It looks like, oh, dang it. I use the master on, no, that's right, that's on throttle. Okay, so the master one is on throttle. And then the slave one, the second one, is over on channel 6, okay? I'm just gonna unplug the second one and see what happens, see if it boots, okay? Okay, only one ESC is plugged in. It didn't arm yet. Yeah, you wanna hear beep, beep. Okay, throttle cut's off and there's nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna leave throttle cut off. I'm gonna go to full throttle. See if I can calibrate the ESC. Nothing, okay? So the other thing is sometimes you have to be below 0 for them to arm. That's the next thing I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go throttle cut. I'm gonna run down to like, you know, a little bit below 0 and just see if it arms, okay? I'm just bringing the trim down further. Throttle cut is off. It's annoying when you have to do this, but sometimes you do. There it goes. Okay, so at 15 below, it armed. Throttle cuts on and it starts running because that pulls it up. Okay, so we have throttle on the right side. Throttle cuts on, it's not gonna work until we get our trim established. We'll have to reprogram from that being our like dead stick point. So minus 115. So unplugged, we know what's gonna make it work. I'm gonna plug in the other one on channel 6. Now that we know where things need to be, we should be able to correct this pretty easy. Throttle cuts back on. Two things you could do. Go to throttle cut. You can change this to minus 115. I don't really like doing that, but it might give us the easiest time at reprogramming. Okay. Now I can set my trims back to 0. Okay, so we're at 0. Now let's go to monitor. Back one. I don't like when it does that. It says all the way up, all the way down. Throttle cuts on, throttle cuts off. It's going to jump up to 98. Okay. So let's see if it'll arm now with both of them plugged in. I don't know if you guys are kind of connecting the dots. If you're brand new to RC, this might be a little bit much for you, but it's still not armed. The clicks of trim aren't gonna matter on this. So I'm gonna shut this off. Ooh, see it? All the way up. I want to try to reprogram the range. I just fear that the range is far enough off it's not going to take. Okay. So throttle cut is off. We're going to try this one more time. Sometimes when your throttle range is too far off of what its expectation is, it doesn't always work. So I'm going to go full throttle. I'm going to plug this in. If it doesn't start going into there's one beep. We're just going to wait a minute. Usually you have to wait for a series of beeps and then you can pull your stick all the way down. That'll calibrate both of the throttles to the imperfect, dual range. I'm not hearing anything, so I'm gonna go up a few clicks. Okay, so that's our timer. Doesn't mean anything, of course. And it does not seem to like doing that. Okay, so I brought the throttle back down. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm just gonna go for a long ways. There's 13, minus 113. And it's right on the edge of not running, okay? So then I'm gonna go up. That's got a lot of power. Okay, now it's gonna try to run when I put on the throttle cut, except I did minus 115, so it doesn't run now. Okay, not a big fan of the way this works. Sometimes this works on ESCs. It's just, there's nothing you can really do about it all on every single aircraft. So what I wanna try to do now is, now that we have the minus 115, I'm gonna go through the range. I'm gonna unplug this. Now I'm gonna go full throttle. Throttle cuts off. I'm gonna plug it back in and see if I can get it to trick into the programming menu. I don't think it's gonna work though. Because yeah, it's not wanting to go into the programming menu because it doesn't recognize the full versus the not full. Okay, throttle cuts back on. We're gonna disconnect this, okay? So what are we left with? We're left with minus 115 on both. Throttle cuts off and it just jumps up like 1 point, okay? So we're actually in pretty good shape. I'm probably just gonna have to grin and bear it because I don't wanna waste too much more time trying to set this up. But you guys understand my concern. When we get this all set up, then I'll play with it a little bit more, see if I can figure out maybe another programming command that we can get in there with. Okay, so throttle cut is on. It should arm this time. Yep, so it armed. Okay, throttle cuts off and it doesn't jump to life, okay? So we have forward thrust. Now, is it going to blow? When I give it this, it should want to yaw that way. So let's look at the yaw. Yep, it yaws right on the rudder. So now even at neutral, that's backward, that's backward. Okay, so throttle cuts on, so you guys see what's going on. This should be, well, that's actually right. Because yeah, that's blowing and it would have turned us this way, okay? So that's actually correct. Oh, look, that popped down. When did that come down? Oh, this just snaps on around the front. Okay. So let's just try to taxi it a little bit. A little bit of throttle. Oh, you don't even hardly need throttle. So you can tell it's definitely working together. Now, elevator is backwards, so let's flip that. Servo, travel, reverse. Where is elevator? Oh, I guess we'll reverse both of these, see if it works. Elevator, elevator, roll left. That's backward. So how do I do that? Elevator, elevator, it's backward. Roll left, roll right. That's also backward. That's obviously not going to work. Okay, we can switch the two channels. That's what we'll do. We'll just physically switch them. Throttle cuts back on. Doesn't really matter which one's which. We'll just switch the two channels here because we didn't know which was which. Okay, so pull this out, then pull this out and just swap them, okay? Remember, you gotta get all this stuff done before you get new Ford programming anyway, which is where you activate S or exit safe. Okay, so now roll. That's gonna roll us the correct way. That's gonna roll us the correct way. That's gonna climb, that's gonna dive. That's gonna yaw us the correct way, show them from the front there. So I'm trying to make a left-hand turn. This is a right-hand turn. So that's all working. We have all the control channels going in the right direction, okay? Great. It's kind of a handful to set this up, but you know, it's got to be done if you want it to fly. So now my next big ticket item is I have to figure out where I'm going to mount this so that we have the best possibility at success. But you see, one of my problems now is I'm really right on the edge of reaching. I know, I'm cringing too. Don't worry. So now watch. I'm going to just stuff this back here and see if I can put those wires underneath. And here's why. I just want to stuff it back there and see if I can make it go by so I don't challenge all the rest of the wiring to a death match, okay? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. And then I can just tuck it right in there. That's a perfect fit, actually. Okay, very nice. Look at that. Now, it's not perfectly square, but I can glue that in, and that would probably be appropriate, okay? So I think my next move is, do I want to glue it or do I want to keep playing with it? And the answer is, I don't know that it really matters. I just want to make sure all the controls are going the right direction before I try to fly this, okay? And then I don't know if I trust this to just stuff in there, but look at the width, guys. Yeah. It is pretty much a perfect fit right here because that's going to hold that battery, guys. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with perfection. If it's perfect, we're just going to take yes for an answer. And then we're just going to drop this ESC wherever the ESC goes. That is not very good cable management, but you know what? I kind of don't care. I'm actually going to flip this, though, because I think that'll make it even better. Guys, look at this. Are we going to get that lucky? You never get that lucky. What are the chances? It's like somebody designed this to work together. They might have. Okay, here on Brian Phillips RC, we don't want to confuse you. And so I apologize in advance. Whenever we do these weird differential thrusts on these kind of like one-off products like this, it can turn into a bit of a task, okay? So we don't want you to be overwhelmed, but I do want you to understand this has really not been that hard of a build. It's just a little bit of back and forth, okay? Remember, we don't know until we do it. So we just do it and figure it out. So that rolls left, that rolls right, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. And we also have the receiver now tucked into the aircraft in such a way that it would be appropriate for us to actually hold it in place. Because the differential thrust is working, that's so cool. I think it's gonna be like a little bit too much, that differential. There's a lot of yaw input. I mean, it's yawing a lot. It looks sweet. It's really neat. I just don't know. I don't know if I'm so convinced about that position that I want to glue it, but let's try. Let's try. You see those two wires going under there? I could try to pull those forward with my finger, okay? Get them out of the way. And then you can use like a Q-tip in your kitchen. If you have Q-tips in your kitchen like Brian Phillips RC, then you can use that thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here. I'm not gonna use a ton of glue. Sorry, folks, I had to sneeze. Kind of came up all at once. Okay, so now I'm gonna just take this and I'm just gonna do a little bit of dab here along the front face. And I'm gonna see if that gives me enough to hold it. You don't need a ton of China glue to hold these receivers in. And a lot of people will use double-sided tape or maybe some foam core tape. That's also fine. You could also use the provided Velcro if you want. I'm not a big fan of having Velcro on my batteries because it always seems to block the label. And by the way, this has really good purchase. Like it's not popping out of there. And I don't think we're gonna have aggressive enough 3D characteristics in this that's gonna be a problem. Plus it's gonna tend to puff as you get hard on it, if you do get hard on it. And so I think that's what we're gonna do. Also this plane, let's see how it looks. Okay, so just drop this on there. There is a point in time when you're building a plane and you realize, oh yeah, it's like done, sort of. Okay, now remember, I don't know that there's thrust reverse. If there's thrust reverse, I'm not sure how to tap into it. For the sake of this video, I think there's enough going on with it that I don't want to introduce even more complication. I don't think most of us are going to care. If you do, I apologize. Throttle cuts on. We do have protection from the differential thrust working. We do have protection from the full range of differential thrust through the full range of the throttle, okay? So we have ailerons, we have elevator, they're not gonna get undermined, and our rudder input's not gonna get undermined while we're in throttle cut. These are all things you wanna check, okay? Clearing the timer. Now it's time to go into forward programming. Be aware if you have differential thrust and it's unproven, it might jump on you because this is gonna go back to 0 out of 100% on throttle, which is not negative 115. I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but we'll find out right now when we go into forward programming. Gyro settings, first time setup. Make sure all your crap's set up is what it's saying. If it's not set up, you have to finish. Set it level, continue. Set it on its nose, continue. Yep, that looks like what we've got in there. See? Mm-hmm. So the plane's like this and the spectrum stuff is going this way. As you can see, that's laid out. That's layout number 5, evidently. Continue, make sure you protect it. Gain channel is gonna be on the rotary knob, which is up here. And that's also known as aux 8 in this case. And when you hit apply, it's gonna spring to life. It's rebooting, so it might try to throttle. So we just gotta be careful about that, okay? So I'm gonna return to forward programming and we have a dance for AS3X, cool. Then we're gonna go to gyro settings. First time save setup. We gotta set up the FM mode. We never set that up before. It's gonna be on this switch, but it looks like aux 7 is already identified as such. You'll highlight it, exercise the switch. It doesn't ever do it for some reason. It's really annoying, but whatever, it's done. Then I'm gonna go to continue. Flight mode 3 in my case is where I want safe. And let's level, model, and capture attitude. This is clearly not level because that's like the takeoff scenario, okay? So there's 2 ways you could do this. You could lay it on a plane stand or you could grab something around your living room or couch or whatever, like pillows, throw these onto the island or the table, and then you can lift up the plane high enough to get it flying in a flying configuration. So you'll look at that and you'll think, does that look about level? If it's not level, believe me, it's gonna fly uphill. It's gonna gain altitude. You won't like that. So I wanna try to kind of get it a little bit. I feel like the nose gear is making it hard to level this, but I'm gonna be way too high with 4 pillows. What do you think? That'll get it off the ground at least.
It will, and then you can maybe squish the pillows down to get it in the right spot.
So guys, pillows are really helpful for your hoe. You wanna make your hoe just the perfect level so you can get in there and just do whatever it is you're doing with your hoe, your HO2, what is this thing? It's the Hoe 229. That is big number.
I think it's called the Horten.
Horten.
We're gonna go with the other thing.
It's not the HO? It's not the hoe? Okay. Well, we'll find out. Now, that would probably fly downhill, so I'm a little bit nervous about that, but it's heavier enough on the nose that it's wanting to go downhill. So I'm gonna slide this under and just support it. Remember, we're not looking for perfection, but we are looking for near perfection on the safe auto leveling. I don't want it to fly downhill at too bad of a speed because that's gonna make it really not super helpful, okay? So you see what oh, that looks pretty dang good.
That's pretty good.
So remember, you need it to be level in both axes of pitch and roll. So you might need to fight this a little bit until you actually are totally satisfied and level. If you want to get at a level, laser level, whatever, go for it. I think it's a waste of time. Look at that. That's because it's really steep in there. And I'm gonna do it a second time. I always do it twice. Okay, and then I'm gonna open up safe to self-level and angle demand. And I'm gonna open up the range, that's what I was trying to say. I'm gonna open up all the ranges so that I can flip the thing over and have terrible outcome if I want, okay? But then it'll still return to level when you let go of the 6. Now it's gonna reboot after this, I think. So just be prepared in case it decides to try to take off or something funny. Okay, good, so you heard both of them arm-ish. So now that's 2 dances. AS3X is 1 dance, safe is the 2nd dance. Return to forward programming. AS3X settings, gains. Okay, so one thing we got to do is in safe. Safe settings, AS3X settings. Where is that anyway? Flight mode settings. There we go. So we have AS3X on this. We have it off on that, and we have a self level. Okay. Hand launch assist on. Okay. So we'll walk out of there. Then we'll go to, we're not gonna do nose wheel. It's all, well, actually that would be pretty easy to do, except it can't be the rudder. So you'd have to make an assignment to a different channel because it can't be rudder.
And since there is no rudder,
we don't care because the gain's gonna be the gain. I don't know what that is. Other settings. Gyro settings. Where is it?
utilities, are you looking for the...
Yeah,
so
it's under utilities. There it is, gyro response test. Okay, sorry guys. I always forget where gyro response test is. So gyro response test is going to move the ailerons and or control surfaces in the direction to resist the current movement. So when I push this nose up, it's gonna resist. Yep, it's resisting by giving down, okay? See that? It's resisting by giving down. Then when I push the nose down, it's resisting by giving up. This is gonna be exaggerated, by the way. Now, if throttle cut were off, it's off. I don't know that it's gonna do anything on the yaw axis like we would with an AviNationRC equipped bind and fly, okay? So I can tell that everything is moving in the right direction with the stabilizer, but I wanna see compared to my movements. Yes, 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 and yes. Also yes, and also yes. This stabilizer is also acting on that, so when I turn to the left, it should reverse. Yep, and yeah, okay, good. So now remember, that's not safe, that's AS3X that we're testing there. But we happen to be in safe. So, ailerons. Tiny little bit of movement, it's not a big difference. Let's walk out, we're in regular flight mode. I'm in AS3X, I can tell it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. Now, from on its back, off, nothing. Trying to find the quickest route to level. Okay, now, you might want to change the gains. If you do want to change the gains, we tied it to rotary knob, okay? So AS3X is correcting. I'm just gonna grab it here where it's easy. On, off, on, all the way up at amplitude 1x, all the way down. And then about 50%, that's where we're gonna start, okay? So we have tested all the control surfaces. We have set up differential thrust. We've set up throttle cut, which is kind of a pain actually. So our apologies. And we have set up forward programming so this thing will auto level and all the other good stuff that we expect from AS3X and Safe. We did set up 1x gyro gain. So click, scroll down to forward programming, jump into forward programming, go to gyro settings, and you can go to AS3X settings and you can change that here if you want. Fixed adjustable defaults to adjustable, okay? That's off, so it's blank, and then that is adjustable as well, even in Safe. So lots of the stuff is set up for you. You don't have to necessarily screw with any of the other stuff. Dynamic response active, AS3X throttle arm. I don't care about that, so we'll just leave it off. Okay. All right, so we're totally walked out. Now, if in doubt that you are uncomfortable about the way the throttle is set up, you might need to redo a fail-safe setting if you're below or above 0 for your throttle settings. So we probably need to do that, which is something we never do. Throttle cuts on, throttle stick is down, picking up the lid, picking up the other lid, we're gonna rebind, okay? This is gonna reset our fail-safe setting, okay? So I'm grabbing the lead to unplug the battery. I just got to get this pulled out. It's not an especially long lead. It's unplugged now. So I'm going to shut this off in the right model. It's turned off. Now, once this turns off and that light's off, I'm going to turn this back on without the transmitter on. And then I'm going to go into bind mode. I noticed my glue wasn't holding that receiver, by the way. So we're gonna have to re-inspect our position, okay? So it is in bind mode. I'm gonna press and hold the bind switch, something we don't do very often, on the transmitter, and I'm gonna rebind, okay? Okay, good. So now everything is settled, everything is in there, and so I'm just gonna pop this all back in. Let that sit. I noticed that my glue had not held down the receiver just quite yet. So this China glue, if it ever doesn't quite stick on the first attempt, it's usually kind of set up by the second time and it'll contact adhesive down. It'll contactively adhesive it down. Okay, now center of gravity marks are here, correct?
The center of gravity is 6 to 8 millimeters behind that mark. So just put your finger behind the mark.
So like 6 to 8 millimeters would be like a finger width.
Yeah.
So like really, I don't think I'm gonna get it a ton better than that. The battery is all the way forward, okay? So I think we're probably where we need to be. Also, let's talk about weight real quick. Unfortunately, since it doesn't have LEDs, I'm thinking we might have missed the boat here, camera crew.
I think we did.
Which sucks. Sucks to be us.
Bummer, because the sunset is really pretty with those pink clouds.
Okay, so turning on the scale. Flip the model upside down, stick it on the scale. And
I can't read it.
270?
270 something with the gear on it.
Okay, so if you were to take the gear off, would that be enough?
Should be enough.
Is that
with the smaller battery?
With the smaller battery?
Yeah, which is the one you have, right? Yes.
I have no idea. All I know is there's 2 batteries and I don't know which one's better. The other thing too is I don't know if this is supposed to snap in front so that it keeps it squared up or if it's just kind of like gonna rotate.
Oh.
Because you can see it's just pivoting. That seems to me like that's gonna create a heck of a yaw moment. Because right now it's no big deal, but wait till you get outside. The other thing that's funny is look, it walks.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier.
That's hilarious. So if your AS3X stabilizer overcorrects and it tries to do a pilot-induced oscillation on the yaw axis, then it might start walking away from you. So be prepared for that. So that being said, I am kind of curious, regardless if we're gonna fly, this throttle cuts off. See how it jumped to life? Throttle cuts on, you wanna know why?
Why?
Evidently our trim was cleared. So I'm gonna just go until throttle cut is off. Watch. Throttle cut's back on. Okay, so what the heck happened there? Let's go to throttle cut. It's at minus 115. So 115 is fine. Throttle cut's on, throttle cut's off. I don't want it to start running like that. Oh, it's because my stick was up a little bit. I don't know how I managed to screw that up. About 60 is where I was. See how it's starting? So I can just go to 60 and then we're safe. Throttle cut's on. We don't have to worry about it, you know, chop anything off because it's an EDF. Okay, but I want to see if this has enough for 1-to-1. And we're going to test by doing it right here. Yeah, it's sticking in my hand. So I'm gonna do this again with a more believable example by holding the nose gear. I still want it to like accidentally chop my finger off. Okay, so just so you guys know, if you don't have enough differential thrust, here's one other thing you're gonna have to do. It's very easy to do this, but it does take a little bit of effort, and I'll show you how to do it, okay? So if you want more differential thrust, it's currently my throttle cut's off. If you want more intensity, there's two ways to achieve it. One, go into mixing, and those two mixes that you created, you can change these, oops, not that one. This one. There's going to be an up and a down, okay? So throttle cut is off. So when I change this to like 50, watch how much more intense it is on one direction, okay? So it'll get really hairy, okay? So the other thing too is once you've started playing with it, you can shut off the negative side, okay? And then you know which side you're playing with. So one of these two is gonna need to be changed and one of them not. See how much less intense it is? So I don't think it's this side, I think it's the other side, but we'll find out. Yep, that didn't change it. So I can clear that to nothing. And then we can just adjust this one and make that a bigger negative attribute. See how it's pretty even? Okay, so now when you need to make changes, you can change this easy enough, or you can make another mix that would be tied to some sort of another knob or another switch for amplitude. I wouldn't recommend making big, huge changes like that. It's not going to be a big, aggressive change necessary, okay? But with 50%, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more. And so I feel like it's probably too much. So I just wanted to demonstrate how you would do it if you wanted to have more of a crazy mode. Excuse me, that's not the one I want. I want rudder to throttle. So instead of 50, I'm gonna bring this down. I'll probably do like, let's do like 15%, okay? And then I'm gonna go to this one and I'm gonna set this one from negative 50 to negative 15. And you're just gonna have like a hint of additional throttle. Oops. Okay, pretty cool. But then when you're in throttle cut, nothing's gonna happen, and regardless of stick condition, you're safe. All right, so hopefully we answered your questions and didn't lead you down too many rabbit trails. If you need help setting up your model, you're in the right place. Brian Phillips RC, we're not gonna leave you high and dry. Even though I sometimes do things and go this direction to get there, we will get you there, and that's the important part, is that you will learn along the way. Now, there are certain steps that I have learned, and this is something I learned a long time ago. There are guys that really, really know the mixing structure better than me, and that's fine, to all their own. I will tell you one thing. If you're afraid of making a mistake, and so you don't want to set up a mix, just make the mistake and test it. As soon as you unmake the mistake, then you will have learned where the mistake was. There's also times that you want to make changes to mixes, but you want to then go back to forward programming and relearn your servo positions. Now, in our case, I am not actively managing the differential thrust, I don't believe, and so I don't have to worry about that. That would be something I'd have to look into additionally, okay? Because I don't know that we can control the differential thrust through AS3X plus on a 630. There are some higher level choices that might give you the capability to do it. I'm not going to do it because I don't really need AS3X controlling the yaw that much. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, okay? If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. It is actively managing the rudder, but I don't think we have enough amplitude to actually make that work, if it is at all. I don't think it's doing it, okay? So hopefully we answered all your questions, and yes, there will be auto leveling on this plane. So when and if I get confused, because this thing might be a little bit hard to see up from down, then we'll be able to switch to safe to have it automatically leveled. Now, the other thing is, if you're hand launching if you're hand launching and belly landing, this is gonna be a little bit tricky to launch. I think it's probably gonna be a discus style launch, in my opinion, because there's just not like an amazing place to hold on to. And so I'll probably just hold it like this, put it in hand launch assist, and then throw it like that. You gotta be a little bit careful. We'll do wheels up, wheels down, and we'll do some hand launch stuff. But to be honest with you, the gear look really cool. I just don't know how this is gonna work. It seems like it's gonna be draggy as all get out, okay? So, couple of high notes and low notes. High notes would be 35 millimeters is a pretty good size EDF for this weight. We are currently above the threshold for remote ID, which is fine. So if you're flying in a FRIA, who cares? You can do whatever you want. Or if you don't care, who cares? You do whatever you want. Just don't tell them I said to do it, because I'm not telling you to break the rules. I'm telling you I don't care what you do. That's between you and God and the FAA. But the truth is, at the end of the day, if you want to be totally above board, you could also throw a remote ID in there. If you don't know what a remote ID is a remote ID module, is designed to tell others where you are so that they are spatially aware of your presence. And it's supposed to help avoid the authorities thinking you're a bad actor, okay? You know, as these wars have gone on, it has made me think a little bit more about remote ID, and I think it's terrible and a stupid overreach from the government, but it doesn't really matter what I think. The point is, there's a lot of bad actors in the world doing bad things. And I think it's ludicrous. But at the end of the day, you know, whatever. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. And they're just gonna use fiber optics. If the bad guys don't wanna have them stop, they're just gonna use fiber optic controls. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they do all over the world. So this is a toy, FAA. We play with them. They're awesome. Those are also toys. They're just bigger toys. There is a limit, I think, where we go from having toys to having like very small airplanes, where people could really get hurt, and I get it. But on these, they're so dang small. If you're really worried, get a Roku. They're like 40 bucks, okay? It's not a big deal. Now, when there was nothing available and the government was demanding that all these things become magically available from thin air, that was a pretty big deal. Now that they're here, it's maybe less of a big deal, but I still don't like the overreach. So now you know my 2 cents. I've already told you this before in other videos, but there's a couple of different ways you could do it. You also use the Spectrum Sky. The Sky is considerably more expensive. That'll help you with some Find Me features if you care. To be honest, I don't think that's that helpful for us. I'm sure that there's people out there. If it has helped you, put it in the comments below. Maybe you'll help us sell one or two. But the links are in the video description for this plane, the receiver we use, the AR630, and then of course for the NX8 or NX lineup or whatever transmitter you want. We'll link to the batteries as well. I like this battery size because it's gonna fit really good. This other battery is quite a little bit bigger, but it's bigger in different ways. Let's look at that real quick. Obviously our parallel charge is done. And just to give you an idea, we parallel charge those things. Let's show you the two. These were parallel charged. This one was singularly charged. Okay, so we'll just show you how these paralleled out, or how they ended up after being charged. 100%, 4.35, 4.34 through the range. And we'll do the same thing. Remember these dark connectors, it's easy to mix up what direction they are, so just be kind of careful. And 4.35, 4.34, all the way through the range. So obviously that worked really good. And same thing here, 4.35, of course, being the high volts level. Yeah, 4.354, and so on and so forth. So this one, as you can see, is gonna be a little bit narrower and longer. So that might create a little bit of a problem if you're trying to hug the pack in the airplane. So you'll have to do you how you best see you need done. But I will tell you a few things that I've learned over the years when it comes to RC is having the correct battery does make it a heck of a lot easier. But also having a lot of batteries that are plane specific is rather frustrating, okay? So would it be nice if this ran on a 2200 3S or 4S? Yeah, but you're never gonna fit it in there, okay? I know some of you guys are asking that, and so I'm gonna grab a 2200 3S, not a 50C, let's grab a 30C. Here's a 30C. Let's just see how bad it would fit. First of all, it's gonna be incredibly nose heavy, and somebody's gonna ask this, so I'm just gonna show it. It's way too big, okay? Which is fine, I just wanted to show that it won't fit, clearly. And then some of you, and challenge accepted, if you're saying that out loud, go for it. Go for it, guys. Here's another size class of 1600, something like Goose Guy helicopters. That might fit, okay? Just remember, I like the hug that's holding that in. I don't wanna have another Velcro piece in there. Now, another size that might be a popular expectation that might fit is 1300. This is a pretty popular one. Ours are kind of getting old though. Yeah, I don't know that that would fit.
It's a lot of lead to get in there.
It is a lot of lead. And plus then you're gonna have to choke it down to a smaller size class, okay? So, and then we've used, this is another one. This would be a competitive offering, and that's why you don't leave your batteries charged, because then they start puffing. Yeah, this one's 750, and it looks like it's a little bit longer. So this would be similar to the China Hobby Line one that was offered. So we'll just go ahead and show that one. Okay. My whole point is there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and the battery's gonna make it easy. If it's a good price and it gets the job done, and you haven't ever experienced the high volt packs, I will tell you every inch ounce of torque and power and thrust that you can get out of this, you're gonna want it, because EDFs demand power because it takes time to derive throttle from a tiny little spinning fan. A big prop you're throwing around, you're gonna get power really quick. These things need power and they need a little bit of time. So the more latency you have between throttle input and throttle output and enough to do the thing you wanted to do, the more difficult and frustrating it's gonna be to fly. So my suggestion is get a good battery. Really impressed with how that fits. Fits good. All right, so other thoughts, camera crew, what do you think?
I think we are about out of time. I'm anxious to see it fly.
I'm disappointed that we missed the boat on the timing, which always happens when we run into stupid problems on setting up radio systems. But that is part of the reason why we do these videos. Because honestly, I feel like I've done throttle cut on thrust reverse, or not, throttle cut on differential thrust many times. And I don't feel like I had nearly as much problems. But because this isn't bind and fly, there's that extra layer of difficulty. That's why you're at Brian Phillips RC. So guys, stay tuned, smash the bell, get notified of new content here on Brian Phillips RC, and check out brianphillipsrc.com, also known as bprc.me. Type that in, go to supplies, you can find China glue. We got lots of different things. You can compare and contrast this to the Optera, which is huge, 2 meters, okay? That's a hand chopper, so be careful. This is EDF, so you won't chop your hands. So unless you stick your fingers in there, and in which case it's not that far down there, so be careful. Looks really cool, China Hobby Line. Keep getting us cool and new and exciting planes. I'm excited. You should be excited too. Check out the links in the video description below. I think it went to a standby mode here. I'm gonna give a little throttle. That'll stop the beeping, okay? Hopefully we answered all your questions, guys. Thanks so much for being here and for being part of this awesome RC experience. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. We'll do the best to help you. But generally speaking, we put it all on the line here on Brian Phillips RC so that you don't have to necessarily take the plunge in the blind. Okay? Thanks for being here, guys. Ways to support us. Buy them from the links. Ways to support us. Buy these from the links. We also have Patreon for monthly support, as well as YouTube members for monthly support. YouTube super thanks for one-time donations, and PayPal if you don't want to be part of those clubs. We get it. But the best way to support Brian Phillips RC is by being part of the RC action and buying amazing equipment. It helps us to support the partners that support us with all this equipment. And it also helps to support the hobby by growing our available choices. If they suck, don't buy them. If they're awesome, buy them. That's my suggestion. If it's not right for you, get something different. bprc.me. That's where you can find it. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. So much more, literally right around the corner.